Whitney Young Dolphins football is on the air. I can't tell you how good it feels to say that after last week's live stream debacle. But anyway, we're here. This is Barry Newman. I'm joined tonight by the pride of Sydney, Ohio, Jack Wildermuth. Jack, great to have you with me.
Barry, thanks for including me on the broadcast, and you worked really hard to try to get us up on the Simeon game, and I'm glad we're live here.
There were a lot of quotes last week as we were trying to get the live stream up. Most of them not repeatable on air. And I said to a number of people that I went through all 7 stages of grief throughout the course of trying to get that live stream up. I think anger was the first 3 quarters. Then there was a few minutes of denial. And then right about when there was about a minute and a half left in the game, I think there was acceptance. I don't know what the other stages are in between. But anyway, we're on the air tonight. We've got the Whitney Young Dolphins coming into this game 1-2, facing the Clark Eagles, who are 2-1. And so both these teams, this is a conference game. So that's the other big thing about tonight. With the first 3 games this year were all non-conference games. This is the start of the CPL, Chicago Public League, conference schedule on our side of the division. So, not that every game isn't important, but this one counts a lot more as it relates to playoff games at the end of the year. So, Jack, we were talking earlier this week. The last time we faced Clark was a couple years ago, and under a lot of asterisks to that season because it was a COVID season, and it was spring game, and I think we rolled in there at 2-0 and had lost a game or 2 because of some COVID things. And then I think you mentioned you were working the chain gang that day. Take us back 2 years ago to Clark versus Whitney Young at Rockne Stadium.
Thanks, Barry. It was a very interesting game. The Dolphins started out 1-0 and then had some 2 weeks off. Then played the rival Walter Payton Grizzlies as a home game on Michelle Obama Field. I think another week off, and then their final game of the season and of the seniors. The I guess it would have been the 2021 seniors. Sorry, 2021 seniors
yeah.
Playing in the spring, which was weird.
Yeah.
Down at Rockne Field, I was on the chain gang. Masks were required outside at the time. It was a tough game. Dolphins prevailed 14-8, and a couple in terms of similar offense for Clark and what we're going to see today. It was more of a rushing attack. More, I think the broadcasters at the time compared it to a military academy style. So I think this is the same thing that we're going to see today. That kind of.
Jack would know a little bit about that as a West Point guy.
I did. It was the key to those games was not falling behind. So if it's 30-0 and a wishbone, you're not able to do too much. But that was there at Rockne Field. We had some interesting calls by the referees,
as we always do. Chicago Public League referees. As if you follow us, you see that there's some interesting things that we try to dissect for you in as an unbiased fashion as possible.
And the Dolphins and some of the key players today were sophomores then. Anthony Hood scored on a 2-point conversion.
Actually, a freshman.
A freshman.
Yep.
And then, sophomore Alex Dale was a starting running back because we had a couple injuries. Frank the Tank Skotanis, currently down at Florida State, and Sam Wyatt is out at Claremont McKenna. Were out with injuries, so they stepped in. And then, unfortunately, on one play, sophomore Alex ran into sophomore Willie Taylor, a number 1 for Clark Prep Douglas that we'll see a little bit later on. And so a fun day there. It was we're back to football. Spring, kind of a colder day. Opening kickoff of the second half, an obvious fumble right in front of
right in front of the
Whitney
Young bench.
bench, and then soon thereafter, our head coach Finger was ejected from the game. I was there. I didn't see what he said, and no one else really did either. But he watched the balance of the game from the woods.
Yeah. He was. There was a parking lot behind Rockney. The visitors' parking lot is behind the south end zone, and Coach Finger was back there. Like, who was the neighbor from? Whatever. I can't. Well, I'm not going to remember the comedy show where the neighbor was always peeking over the fence, but that sounds bad.
No, that's right. No, I can't recall. It was a Tool Time.
Yeah, exactly.
So
anyway, Coach Finger was out there the whole second half. And again, as an incoming parent on that, it was kind of interesting because I didn't know Coach Finger that well. Knowing him well now, it's just crazy to think that Coach Finger got kicked out of a game. And I think it was the initial reaction because it was right in front of him. It was the most atrocious call on this fumble. That was clearly a fumble for them, and they ruled it down or something like that.
Clearly a fumble. Yeah. The ref was trailing the play by a considerable margin. Yeah. But everyone in the stadium could see that the ball was dropped, recovered by the Dolphins, first down the other way, and then that was the Dolphins were able to come back and win that as well, and didn't have a kicker that day. Shout out to another class of 22, Nando Lozano was missing. He's playing volleyball that day. So
okay.
This is a lot of the freshman Dolphins were there, and it's good to see them here in action again against Clark.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned some of those names, and you think back to it a bit, and some of the guys that are playing today. Anthony Hood was a guy that stepped in his first day at Whitney Young and played every snap on both sides of the ball. And I think that first game of the year, he caught a touchdown, had an interception, and right then everybody knew that we had somebody special. I think Joseph Clayton also, I remember in the Clark game, and his mom and dad were sitting right in front of us in the stands, and Joseph just came out of nowhere and just lit somebody up. And it was like, hey, yeah, that guy's got it all put together. And then you think back about Alex Dale as well, and you mentioned it. He was the running back that day. It really kind of, talking about the game against Peyton, fans, I think there was a limited number of fans that were allowed in the gate. So I was just outside kind of in Skinner Park watching the game and walking along with it. And so I was down on the end zone when Skotanis went down.
Oh,
and
sure.
I was sick to my stomach because as a junior at the time, I mean, to me it looked like an ACL. I mean, just the way he got hit, kind of from the side, the way he got off the field. And, again, back to what a strange season it was. That was the spring of his junior year. If it would have been an ACL, his career was done because it wasn't a game in October. It was a game in April. But thankfully for Frank, it was an MCL that he was able to come back for. And then later that game, Sam Wyatt, who had taken over, did a typical Sam Wyatt play, and that was he was bulldozing in on the other end zone. And as we say in our family, he suffered an upper body injury on that play, maybe something between his ears. Sam, you'll have to confirm or deny that one. But anyway, we roll into that game, and Alex, being a guy who was a sophomore, had played a few different positions and was moved into running back and did a really nice job that day. Let's talk a little bit about what we might see tonight. So you said a few things as far as we're going to expect a lot of the same out of Clark. I've been able to watch a little bit of their film from earlier this year. So Clark is 2-1. Clark last year was 9-2. All right, so they the only losses they had during the course of the year, they lost to Peyton, I think by a point, and then they won their first round game in the state playoffs and then lost their second round game. Now, they were a 1A team, and where they were playing within Chicago Public League last year was a lower division than what they're. So they're elevated up. What we're going to see from Clark on the offensive side of the ball is a lot of different stuff. I mean, they do run this traditional wishbone, and they'll put three guys in the backfield. And a lot of times they're running from that. I mean, some of the key guys that we'll be talking about, Jackie mentioned Willie Taylor. So Willie Taylor is number one on their team. He gets the primary number of carries out of the backfield. Adrian Clayton is their quarterback. So, a lot of times you think about a wishbone team and you think, we're just going to see this team run 60 times. But one, they'll throw out of the wishbone, so you got to watch some of the flankers out of that. So you'll see some guys like number 2 Dontrell Starks or number 6 Tayshawn Perkins running go routes out of the wishbone. So they're doing some of that fake stuff, and Clayton is throwing it deep. The other thing they'll do is they'll run wishbone, 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 and all of a sudden they'll be out there in a 4-receiver spread. And so they're not afraid to mix it up from that perspective. And again, you'll see they throw a lot of deep balls, right? So Clayton, a lot of go routes. I got to say, it's not a whole lot of fancy routes going on. Not a lot of receivers don't have to have every route in the tree worked out. They just got to run deep, and Perkins floats it out there. So how the Dolphins match up against that, and I say Wildcats as a Northwestern fan, so that's one. And Jack, you have to keep track of the number of times. The prop in Vegas is 2.5 times that I reference mistakenly Dolphins to Wildcats. There's a whole nother prop bet of the number of times I mention Northwestern during the telecast, and that has been set at 7.5.
So Barry, do the Wildcats and Northwestern, are they separate prop bets? Or are they one in the same?
Oh man, well we're gonna have to check in on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now it's 1-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, on the Dolphins' defensive side, a couple things to mention. One, and we'll talk more throughout the broadcast. Luke Yolich got hurt opening kickoff last week. And he's out tonight, and I have to say, I hate to say it, but probably the rest of the season. So that's going to be a huge loss for the Dolphins on both sides of the ball. The one big thing it does is that if thankfully, knock on wood, we've been relatively healthy all year, but the injuries we've had have come in that defensive backfield. So with Yolich down as the key safety and the key cog, and again, Yolich, talk about a guy who has started defensively from day one. I mean, Luke is a sophomore. So I think what we're going to see tonight is that Anthony Hood is going to rotate back to a safety position, and then we're going to have Brian Pantoja starting at corner along with Joseph Gray, who started the last few weeks since Naz Rankin went out. So I think the 3 key injuries in the defensive backfield, if you would have talked to me in August, I would have said, hey, we're really deep. We've got all these guys. Naz Rankin, who's a freshman, played the first half of the Hope game and looked great. I mean, very, very good on run defense. Also really nice coverage on it. Hey, again, we were down 10-0 at half, and I think Naz was a big part of that. So I'm hoping we see him back in a week or two. And then the other injury that happened in practice even before the season started is Andrew Latham. So Andrew was a freshman who played a lot of special teams on varsity last year. Andrew, a second-team all-city lacrosse guy. And so he just sort of had a freak injury in practice that hurt his thumb, and hopefully we'll see him back. But anyway, what that means to our defensive backfield is you got 2 freshmen starting on the corners. You've got Hood and Quinn Duhan as the safeties. I want to bring up Duhan because we didn't get on the air last week, so the other thing I want to talk quickly about is not Simeon necessarily, because there's not a whole lot to talk about there other than the fact that, watch Malik Elzy in college for a few years and then watch him in the NFL. Like he had 3 touchdowns before we even – well, we never got the live stream out, but I mean, he's just an incredible player. Watch Simeon all year. They're going to be a team that's going to be very, very interesting as the season progresses and into state. What I want to talk about for us is going back to that Good game. So we beat Good 27-6, and in that game, Quinn Duhan, he's shown it all year. I mean, had the long catch against Hope. I think his stats for that game were like 5 catches, 75 yards. And against Good, he had an interception that he took back to the house, called back on a questionable penalty, a couple of really nice 3rd and 4th down receptions, but then he had an incredible punt return that he took down the left-hand side, made a ton of guys miss, and put us in position for a score. What we did in the Good game was we went run heavy. There were some passes that were there early between Newman and Hood that they didn't quite connect on, but that Anthony had a step on, and then I think we could see that things were working on the run side. So in that game, Joseph Clayton busted off a long run, and the guys on the team will never let him forget the fact that he fumbled at the end of that. He got tomahawked and ended up fumbling. But Clayton, I think, for the day, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, I could probably look it up, but call it like 8 carries, 75, 80 yards. Anthony Hood had 8 or 9 carries. He had 2 touchdowns. He also had 70 yards. And Jolich in that game also was in that 7 to 8 carries and over 60 yards with a touchdown where he lowered the boom on a guy at the goal line. So we went run heavy there, and it worked well. The other 2 games of the year, we haven't been able to get that run game going. I mean, Hope was not something where we were able to get a lot of positive yardage running. And then last week against Simeon, a little bit different today. I think that from what I've seen, I mean, Clark does have a stout run defense. We're going to see them in sort of a traditional 4-3 defensive set. So 4 defensive linemen, but a lot of times they'll even walk up one of those linebackers and put him with a hand down on the line. So you're dealing with 5 guys on the line of scrimmage, and they bring a lot of blitzes, sort of like delayed blitzes from some of those linebacker positions as well. It'll be interesting to see how the Dolphins try to counteract that. I mean, some of that is if you get a run game going, and you can sustain those blocks on that big front 4, that you're going to get positive yardage. We're going to move the chains. We're going to get some momentum going that way, and then it opens up the pass game. I think the other opportunity could be some of the shorter routes that with those linebackers blitzing. You hope that what that means is you've got the center of the field that could be open for a quick crosser to a Duhan, quick crosser to an Alex Dale coming from his tight end spot. So when we flip over, the offense again, it'll be likely Newman at quarterback. I think Hood is going to see some time in the Wildcat as well, and we saw that out of Good. And I think the coaching staff sees that as an opportunity to get Hood in the backfield with another speed power type guy like a Joseph Clayton, and that worked really, really well for us against Good. So we've got about 2 minutes on the clock until kickoff. I usually miss the coin toss. I don't know. Did that go on already?
It did not, Barry. And I would have, in my 3rd year watching Dolphin football, I would agree. There's nothing wrong with getting the ball in number 3's hands, Anthony Hood.
Yeah. And so Anthony, and looking back, and we talked a little bit about the 2 years ago. It's interesting when you look back at the stats from last year, and you brought up some of those guys. And let's give a shout out to Josh Wildermuth at Indiana in his freshman year. So Josh was a starting wide receiver and defensive back on the team last year, and he was part of what I think was a really, really balanced attack. And they altered what they needed to do with what the game provided. So when you look back, I think we had about the same number of rushing and receiving yardage last year. And it was different. Pat McHale is just a baller. He's just and Pat is also at Indiana right now. Shout out to Pat, who's working for the Indiana Hoosiers football team. He's working.
Be good down there in Bloomington tonight, fellas.
Yep. What time is it in Bloomington right now? Is it? I think it's beer 30. I do believe it's Friday night beer 30 in Bloomington.
I think it is.
And maybe it's been that way for quite a while.
But I think we lost some 2-way starters last year, but I think the spirit on this team, although younger, with a limited amount of seniors, it's nice to see the junior class in particular, and the sophomores stepping it up as well with the strong freshman class as well. So I think the say intermediate term projections for the Dolphins are strong once they get some more reps.
Yeah, and it is. That should be the other prop bet of the number of times we talk about this, the number of seniors on this team, and it is limited. So the guy Alex Dale, you'll see all night in all facets of the game. But beyond Alex, not a lot of senior. A couple seniors on the squad. Jacob Mraz, Brandon Barsma, who are also going to watch tonight. Yep, Brandon's actually out. So Brandon's been our starting punter and kicker. He's number 8, so I see him in street clothes right now. So So Alex Dale, I think, probably rolls also to starting punter, and Solomon Bradley potentially as a place kicker tonight. And yeah, so it's a young team. It's a program, though, and Coach Finger emphasizes that, and we see that through the growth of the guys on the JV team. We see that through how this team practices and plays, that it's something that they do all together. It's the JV team is part of the guys that you see over there right now because they want to have Coach Finger wants them exposed to games like this, games under the lights, games on a Friday night that you want to win. You want to see that intensity that goes on. So it looks like now we've got captains on the Clark side coming out. So Willie Taylor is number 1. Number 2 is Dontrell Starks. Number 3 is Adrian Clayton, the starting quarterback. I think you'll also see him in the defensive backfield. And number 66 in your program, number 1 in your hearts, Jonathan Smith-Fenner. And I know they talked, we did see some write-ups. So if we take it across, Rice, number 1, lauded by the coaches of just being a really, really hard-nosed runner, and then also one of their playmakers on the defensive side. And I think they think he has potential to play at the next level. Number 2, Dontrell Starks is a speed guy. He had an 88-yard touchdown catch in one of the games that I watched. I think that was their game against King. And then Adrian Clayton, as the quarterback, again, he'll run it out of that wishbone, but he's also going to look to throw deep. The Dolphin captains, Bennett Newman, number 12, starting quarterback. Joseph Clayton, number 7, starting running back and starting inside linebacker. Alex Dale, number 6, starting tight end, second team.
Second team all city.
There you go. I stole your thunder on that one. I knew you had it.
This is my first time, Barry. So
Anthony, and then Anthony Hood, who's starting wide receiver, starting defensive back. So he was a second team CPL defensive back.
Okay.
Are we all good?
Sorry about that. We're up here near the coach's booth and the CPS officials, and I thought they're about to kick us out, but I think we're good, Barry.
Okay, well that's good, because I wouldn't be able to handle that at this point. Hey, while we're waiting for the flip of the coin right now, it seems like a long conversation down there. I want to give a shout out to a new Dolphin sponsor, Sorelli's Finer Foods. So Sorelli's, located on North Avenue here in Chicago, is providing all of the sandwiches to the Dolphin team. So we got post-game sandwiches that came out last week. Guys really enjoyed it. So for all of you Dolphin fans out there, Sorelli'sFinerFoods.com is the online source for real Chicago Italian beef shipped anywhere in the country. So I was actually thinking about this. If you're planning a family gathering to watch the Dolphins, I think there's probably nothing better than to order up 24 Italian beef sandwiches from Sorelli's. Sorelli's, Serrillis, Sorelli's. So Google it. They're located at 6453. I did that off the top of my head. I might be off by a little bit, but 6400 block of North Avenue, and that's out of town. So you can get stuff out of town. They'll ship you Italian beef, and then also locally, get your catering needs done. So full-on Italian beef, Italian sausage, cheese trays. Doug Newman, if you're out there listening, cheese trays are available. Subs, pizza, anything you want on your pizza. Cheese pizza with lots of other toppings.
And yes, just another place, 6454 West North Avenue. So please, they've last year we had a different, more of a chain store helping us out with food, and so Sorelli's, go to Sorelli's.
Yep. And we'll give a shout out Felicia Spivak, who's the mother of Braden Samko. Braden is on the JV team and plays both ways, getting a lot of tick, as they say, in the JV game. So Felicia stepped up. Her Aunt Patty is the owner, proprietor at Sorelli's. So if you happen to need some Italian beef sandwiches and you ring up Aunt Patty on the interwebs or directly, give her a go Dolphins. So it looks like Clark, I'm guessing, won the toss and elected to kick. That's just my guess. Here's the thing. I've watched some of the film. Clark onsides a bunch. They also do, I think, call them inadvertent onsides. So we've got to be ready. The Dolphins got to be ready. We got Brandon Dockett back deep along with Will DeMille. Dockett is returned to kick earlier this week in the JV game for a touchdown. So we'll see what happens here. The kick is away. It's a line drive, going to be fielded by the up back. Can't quite see who that is, but we get a positive push out to the 35, maybe 36-yard line. So I think that was actually Brian Pantoja that fielded the kick, and Pantoja is going to stay in. So I believe that the Dolphins are going to start out with Anthony Hood in that wildcat position. And not to say that Anthony won't throw the ball, because he had a nice completion last week to Quinn Duhan. So we've got Pantoja as a wide receiver coming to our side. Hood in the backfield along with Joseph Clayton. Harrison Gassa and Quinn Duhan as the other receiver. So first down from the 35, 1st and 10. Hood takes a snap straight up the middle, spin move across the 40 to the 42-yard line for a pickup of 7 yards.
Nice Dolphin crowd starting to fill in on the opposing sideline. We're broadcasting from the Clark side, which is a home game here at Lane Tech. We'll have, I think, the majority of our home games here as well, Barry.
Yep, exactly.
Probably, I want to say we're pushing 100 students and maybe 50 parents. Good to see the Whitney Young Dolphin fans showing up, coming from what was probably a grueling day of classes there on a Friday.
Yep, good to see them out. So Hood in the backfield, motions Duhan, forward flip to Duhan. Duhan make a nice cut.
Nice.
Across the 50 for a first down.
Play by Quinn.
So that was Duhan, technically a completed pass. So a forward pitch to him, gets across the 50 to the 49. So we've got the Dolphins on a drive. Hood heads over to Coach Finger, collects the next play. Offensive line is steady as they come. Buster Cepeda at center, Nick Dale and Nefasimi Obadele at guard, MJ Woods and Jason Perez at the tackle positions. Alex Dale in motion, snap to Hood, corrals it. He's looking to throw, and he cuts it upfield. Probably no gain on that. So there was, so we've talked about it being the wildcat position, but I think we just have to call it we just might need to call it the quarterback position, because it's looking like Hood is trying to, rather than just take it and run, he's also going to be mixing in some passes there.
Yeah, experienced some pressure there. He had some open receivers downfield, but not much time to find them.
So second down at the 50. So that was we're not running the clock, man. Talk to somebody else. It's not our job. All right. So Hood barking out signals, 2nd and 11 from the 50. He's got Clayton in the backfield behind him. Dale in motion to his left. Handoff to Clayton up the middle.
Good run.
He's taken down by Taylor at the 46-yard line. So pickup of 4. That's going to bring up 3rd down. 3rd down and about 7. And so now Newman comes onto the field. So Newman going to be the going to be the designated passer tonight. So Newman in the lineup. Hood goes out to his wide receiver position. He's closest to us here on the 50. Quinn Duhan next to him. Newman barking the signals. Spread formation. Quinn Duhan in motion to his left. Looks like he's got one-on-one with Anthony over here. But he delivers a strike on the money to Alex Dale for a first down to the 35.
First down, Dolphins.
So that was a nice pitch and catch. They loaded up that side with 3 receivers. Newman had nice protection from his offensive line, and he put it on the number 6 of Alex Dale for a first down. So 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Newman stays in the game at quarterback. Hood now to his top side. Handoff to Joseph Clayton. Nifty little move in the middle. Clayton takes it across the 30.
Good blocking up front by that Dolphins O-line.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Jack. I mean, they're getting a push, right? I mean, they're winning right now on the trenches. So again, Perez, Nick Dale, Buster Cepeda, Nefesimi Opedele, and MJ Woods doing their jobs up front. So it looks like, all right, I thought that Alex was going to stay in the backfield, but Newman in the pistol with Clayton behind him. Hand off to Clayton. Makes the first man. It's started outside to the house. Nice move. Clayton shook off an early blocker. Shot to the left-hand side and put it in the end zone.
Touchdown, Dolphins. That's fun to say.
That is fun to say. So a nice drive. Started at the 36.
I think we have a hold of some sort.
Oh.
I didn't see a flag.
Okay. So there was a downfield hold. So as excited as we got, hold the excitement. So I think we'll have to see what we end up with here. I think the chains are sort of out of order. I think it's going to be a first down. It's going to be a spot foul, so there must have been a hold on the backside of that play after Clayton had broken free. So my guess is that they're marking the ball just outside the 20. It's at the 21-yard line, and we had a first down at the 35 after that completed pass. So they're going to move the chains up, and it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 21 after that penalty. So Newman again, now he's back to pass. Looking over, ooh, dangerous pass. Broken up by number 6, Tyshawn Perkins. The pass was intended for Harrison Yassa over on the right-hand side. Good protection, good pass protection there. So we've got 7:17 left, so the Dolphins are on the opening drive of the game here, approaching 5 minutes on the clock, which is nice to get that established. Newman, 2nd down and 10 from the 21. Clayton to his left, Quinn Duhan in motion. And there's going to be an offsides penalty on Clark. Which again, we have to read the IHSA handbook here, the rule book. Because I guess in high school football, Tony McHale, you can tell me that this is correct. The offsides must be a dead ball, somehow a dead ball penalty. You know, so in the NFL, that's a free play. But here, I think because Clark was lined up offsides, as soon as the snap was made, it was blown dead, and the Dolphins pick up 5 yards on that. So it brings up a, 2nd and 5. 2nd and 5 from right around the 15-yard line. There's Clayton almost fumbled the ball, but hangs on to it. So he's going to lose a couple as well as his helmet, which Scott Clayton, if you're here, you're not happy about. I always hear about that. So Scott does a lot of the games with me. He is not happy when his son's helmet comes off because that's you're forced to go to the sidelines on that play. So second, and I've been saying 5, I guess, which it's got to be 5 because there was a 5-yard penalty, but I'm not sure that's the actual yardage. I think we're going to see Hood back in the quarterback position. Yep, so Hood is going to be in the backfield. He's going to have Tyson Hayes next to him. So Tyson Hayes checks in at the running back position with Clayton out. Hood getting everybody organized. I think he's trying to get Tyson Hayes maybe. There was motion all over the place. No flags, though. Hood ushered out of bounds. No gain on the play. There was Tyson Hayes jumped a bit in the backfield, but then there was also a Clark defensive end that was jumping off sides as well, and the referees just decided to let it go. Let's play on. Play on.
Yeah. Camera error there. Sorry, Dolphin fans.
That's right.
I was too busy. I was excited to watch the game. I didn't turn the camera. This is my maiden broadcast. So.
Yeah, we've all been there, Jack. The number of times I got that I missed Pat McHale touchdown runs or passes last year was ridiculous. So third down. Oh, am I right? Third down? No, it's fourth down. Fourth down and 5. Hood in the backfield. Clayton behind him. Hood waves Duhan in motion to his left. Hood gets the ball, heads up field, got the first down.
First down.
There you go. Talk about a little bit of confidence in your running game and in a guy like Anthony Hood. Fourth down and 5. Took the direct snap and just took off through the A gap. So, again, let's give a shout out. That was running right over the top of Nick Dale, I believe, on the right-hand side of that line. So Buster and Nick doing their jobs up front. This drive is taking a whole lot of time, which is great. Newman comes sprinting back in the field as the quarterback on this. So we're going to have first and goal from the 5. Newman has Clayton as the running back. Brian Pantoja, Duhan, Dale now in motion from the tight end position. High snap, he corrals it to Clayton. Clayton fighting down to the 1-yard line. So pick up a 4 there. Clayton did a nice job of just keeping it alive. There was some contact probably at about the line of scrimmage, kept his legs going, and got down to about the 1-yard line. We're under 4 minutes now, so this is a 8-minute plus drive, which is just a great thing for the Dolphins because we've been early in the season. I think it's been hard for us to maintain drives and control clock. So second down and goal at the 1. Newman with the snap, with the pitch, or the handoff to Clayton, and it goes backwards. So I think there's a little bit of timing there. The snap was a little bit astray, and I think that threw the timing of the overall play off a little bit.
9-minute drive. Let's just finish it off with a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be the cat and mouse game all day. And so you see Hood comes back in the lineup at quarterback with Clayton as a running back. Duhan and Gasa split top left. Pantoja to the right. Dale in motion. Hood with the handoff to Clayton. He gets swallowed up immediately. Flag down on the play. So we'll have to see what happened. It seems like the Whitney Young Dolphin fans think that it's on Clark. I'm not quite sure that you can't do that. We don't have an indication from the referees yet. I mean, somebody can't do that. It's just we don't know who it is that can't. Looks like we got
on Clark. I didn't see the signal.
I think it's a face mask. I think it looked like a face mask. I'm not quite sure why well, maybe they were giving that information to the Clark sideline first. So I'm not quite sure. It's still, there was a flag on the play. It's 3rd down. Newman is in the game. We'll try to get this sorted out. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but it's 3rd down. Newman under center. Hands off to Hood. No gain. So where we had some things working up the middle in that against that Clark defense, there Hood ran smack dab into number 55, Anthony Brooks, a sophomore, 6'3", 245-pound defensive lineman. So now we bring up 4th down. We are under 2 minutes, so 1:40 left in the first quarter. Dolphins started at their own 35, have driven it inside the 5-yard line. It's 4th down. Newman in the game at quarterback. High snap. He rolls to his right. Deep end zone throw. Touchdown. Touchdown to Harrison Gassa.
Touchdown Dolphins.
Yeah, baby. Way to finish it off. Harrison Gassa is a 6'4" guy, and Newman put the ball in a position that only Harrison Gassa was going to get up and get it. Harrison got his feet down, and the Dolphins are on the board. 6-0 for the Dolphins. New kicker on, I believe it's Solomon Bradley. Ben Barrett, the long snapper. Clark jumps off sides on that. So I think now that with the offsides, I think they're going to bring in the 2-point unit on this. So Solomon Bradley, I thought we were going to get you in the point column for your varsity career, but you're going to have to hopefully wait for later in this game to get that. So now that it's at the 1 after Clark jumped off sides, Coach Finger, Riverboat Daniel Finger, going to roll the dice and go for 2.
Riverboat Dan.
So Newman in the pistol, Clayton behind him. Duhan in motion. He's got Duhan wide open. Oh, well, I thought he was wide open, but it was broken up. Nice play on the outside. I think that is, let me try to get a number. Looks like LaKendrick Bailey, number 4, with that pass breakup. So I thought that Duhan had a spot that Newman had a window, but let's, so that was a 10-minute and 43-second drive. Some mainly running, but really nice pitch and catch from Newman to Alex Dale to pick up a 3rd down. And then the touchdown pass to Harrison Gassa to put the Dolphins up 6-0. All right.
It was a great pass by Newman. I think he put it a tall receiver. He put it in the spot where only the receiver could catch it. So well done to complete the drive.
So the Clark offense, they've been chilling on the sidelines. Actually, they all play both ways, so not really chilling on the sidelines. Alex Dale lining up to kick. So, again, Brandon Bardsma out tonight with an injury. Brian is a guy who plays soccer and football, and so I think he actually had the original injury in soccer and then aggravated it in the Simeon game. So we hope to see him back. But we have senior Alex Dale lining up, counting heads. Got 5 to his right. Now 4 to his right, 6 to his left. Kick from the 40. Kick is pop up to the 20-yard line. Fielded by Perkins, number 6, who's ushered out of bounds at the 35-yard line by Barry Gordon and Joseph Clayton, I do believe. So let's get a quick rundown. I'll tell you again, we talked about it a bit at the top on the defensive side. freshman Brian Pentoa getting a start at corner. Joseph Gray as the other corner, so number 10 and number 16. Anthony Hood going to go to that deep safety spot. Anthony Hood, number 3. Looks like Quinn Duhan right now is even walking up and is within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. So Duhan as the other safety is up there along with Clayton and Alex Dale at the linebacker positions. Tyson Hayes at that strong safety position. And there's Willie Taylor with the opening carry. And Taylor picks up about 5 on that over the right-hand side. And so Clark's they're gonna get right back to it. They're like, hey, we're gonna we sat on the sidelines on offense the entire first quarter. We want to get back to it. So Clayton, handoff again to Taylor, who's taken down almost immediately by Joseph Clayton and Quinn Duhan in there. So again, the Dolphins loading up the box right now. So they're walking Duhan as that other safety up on the box. They're saying to Anthony Hood, you're playing single deep safety. So cover 1 look. Again, Clark they can wing it around a bit. So I think that Clayton has thrown some deep balls. They've got a 1st and 10. There you go.
Tackle.
Joseph Clayton
getting his
shooting
nose
through
in
there.
We've seen that the past several years.
Shooting through there, tackling Willie Taylor. I'm not quite sure what was going on the chain gang there, because they did not pick up a 1st down on that second carry. But it's listed as 2nd and 10 right now. So maybe I missed something in there.
I don't think you did, Barry, but that is the end of the quarter.
That is the end of the quarter. So end of the first quarter. If you've got a Sorelli's Finer Foods Italian beef sandwich in front of you, have a couple bites of that. Maybe head to the fridge, grab yourself something cold and frosty. And join us for the second quarter of football coming up right now. Great night out here at Lane Stadium, man. Perfect temperature. Nice to have the evening game as well. There was the one thing that Jack noted earlier, we are literally, I don't know, what do you want to say, 500 yards away from the DePaul prep field.
Quarter mile.
Yeah.
DePaul taking on Leo tonight over in Catholic League action.
Yeah, so.
Dolphins fans filling in. They had some Seven Nation Army going, which as a Buckeye fan, I appreciate that song. Blue and orange, well represented tonight here at Lane Stadium.
All right, so 2nd down and 10 from the 41-yard line. Clayton with the pitch. This is number 6, Perkins. He gets some positive yardage, eventually dragged down by Rico D'Alessandro, Alex Dale, and Barry Gordon. I think some words may have been exchanged there, but so number 6, Tyshawn Perkins, getting that pitch from Clayton in the backfield, getting across midfield. So that's going to bring up 3rd down. 3rd down and 2. So let's see if the Dolphin D-line can get some push. D-line out there right now. Obadelli and Jason Perez actually at the D tackle spots. D'Alessandro, number 9, the freshman, and Barry Gordon, number 2, BG3 on the outside. Dale and Clayton looking to run up the middle. And Taylor picks up the 1st down. So he found a little seam off the right-hand side behind his big offensive line. They've got some large human beings out there on the Clark side of the ball. So they pick up a first down at the 45. So Nick Dale rotates in for Jason Perez at a D tackle spot. We'll try to talk about some Clark offensive linemen later, but number 78 is Avion Ellis, 6'7", 330 pounds. He's on the left-hand side, and a guy that the coaches called out in preseason as far as contributions from him. So back to pass, and now on the run is the quarterback Adrian Clayton, and he's going to pick up a first down, I think, or it's going to be close to a first. I think they're marking it at the 36, so it'll probably be a second and about 1. So Clayton, the quarterback, Willie Taylor in the game as sort of their workout horseback. Anthony Spivey is one of the other running backs, sophomore, 5'8", 220. Saw him have a nice little screen pass in one of the earlier games. And then also the up back is number 9, Kamarian Rice. I think we're going to get a timeout here.
Timeout, Clark. It's their first.
I actually noticed on this production truck thing that I can give them a timeout. Look at that. Hey.
Beautiful.
Nothing broke. I hope not, at least. So a timeout for Clark here. 9:58 left in the first half. Dolphins leading 6-0 on a touchdown pitch and catch from Bennett Newman to Harrison Gassa. I think Harrison's first varsity touchdown catch. Newman's second varsity touchdown throw. He hit Anthony Hood back in the first game of the year. The second game of the year against Good, all the touchdowns came via the ground, 2 by Anthony Hood and another one from Luke Yolich, and a pick 6 from Alex Dale. Alex Dale's second pick 6 of his career, the other one coming on a extremely memorable night right here at Lane Stadium when Alex had a pick 6 against Lane to help the Dolphins win 10-6 last year. So that was a quick snap and run by Adrian Clayton. Actually, I think Kamarian Rice just sort of shoved him from behind, and that helped them pick up the first down across the 35. So they're going to have 1st and 10. And I do think, I'm not sure who's working the chain gang, but I can't trust those guys because it is 1st and 10, even though it says 2nd and 10 up there. It's 1st and 10 at the 32-yard line. Again, quarterback is Adrian Clayton. For Clark, he's got Taylor to his right. Takes a snap, back to pass. Good protection, going deep. Anthony Hood back there to pick it off.
Intercepted.
At the goal line to the 20.
Go number 3.
What a spin move. Taken down at the 30-yard line. A flag comes flying in from across the field well after the play, though, so that's going to be Dolphin football. And that was one of the things I was thinking about with Anthony back there in that safety position and knowing how these guys just run those go routes. Anthony was back there, collected the interception, and then off on the run, took it out across the 30-yard line. So it's going to be Dolphin ball. We'll have to figure out what the call was here. The Dolphin offense back on the field. Always a bit of an adventure with Chicago Public League refs and what you might see. So they're going to back up the Dolphins. I didn't see what the signal was. I think blocking the back. Blocking the back against the Dolphins on the return.
block in the back about 50 yards away from the play.
Yeah, exactly. That the referee was at about the 50, so maybe he saw something. Maybe I'm sure he saw something. So Newman in at quarterback. He's got Clayton to his left. Duhan in motion. False start on the Dolphins, which was maybe beneficial because I think that snap was astray as well, and I think it was going to be a little forward pitch to Duhan. I think the timing was going to be off on that, but that's going to march the Dolphins back 5 yards. So it's going to be 1st and 15 from the 23-yard line. 9 minutes and 1 second left in the second quarter. Again, Dolphins leading 6-0. Newman stays in at quarterback. He's got Clayton. Anthony Hood is down here, and there is one-on-one coverage across the board. Handoff to Clayton. He's stacked up in the backfield by number 0, Kajon Franklin, one of the leaders on this team.
Second down coming.
So I think no gain on that. So we'll call it 2nd and 15 from the 22. So I got to think that at some point, although we got a pretty decent wind right now coming out of the south, but at some point we've got, on that play, number 6, Tyshawn Perkins was matched up one-on-one against Anthony Hood down here on the bottom with press coverage on him. Nobody behind him. Got to think that, well, now Perkins backs off a couple steps. Dale in motion. So man-to-man coverage. Inside handoff to Clayton. He's going backwards and then slam down. So while the run was getting some things done on the opening drive, we've had it go in reverse here. So that was about a loss of 7 or 8 on the play. So it's going to bring up 3rd down, and we'll call it 20. But I think it's a little more than that. I think it's about 3rd and 22. Now we'll see. I think just watch what the Clark defense does. Again, it's Perkins with one-on-one coverage against Hood on the bottom of the screen. Snap to Newman. He has time. He's looking deep. Off the hands of Quinn Duhan. So Duhan had come free. Pass was a little bit high, but I'm sure one that Quinn wanted to reel in. So that is going to bring up 4th down. Great protection that time, which is a nice sign, hopefully a sign of things to come in this game.
The offensive line's playing very well tonight.
So again, wind is blowing pretty steady right in Alex Dale's face. Alex Dale kicks it away, end over end kick. Going to bounce at the 30 and come to a rest there. So Clark's going to take over with great field position. So while the Dolphins got the interception from Hood, couldn't get much going on the offensive side of the ball. Ended up punting it away, punting into the wind, where the ball's down at the 30, so Clark's going to take over with a 1st and 10 deep inside Dolphin territory at the 30. What do you think, Jack? How's it going over there?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me as the color commentary. You did such a nice job, Barry, on calling the play-by-play. On our bingo card, only one of each.
Oh,
one of each
okay.
so far.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a halftime over-under on those or not.
So I don't know if I can get prompted. I mean, was that sort of like
unprompted sounds right? And I do have a catchphrase. I think I'm stealing from Tony McHale from a couple years back. That was also on the bingo card for some kids maybe watching down there in Bloomington.
All right. So Eagles take over. Clayton at quarterback, hands to number 1. Taylor with a 1st down run. picks up 9. So I think we're going to, let's see. Yep, picks up 9. Oh, no, picked up 10. So now they're moving the chains forward. So right off the bat, so Clark comes out running, picks up 10 yards on that first handoff to Taylor. So now that puts him at the 20-yard line. CPS officials and chain gang trying to get things straightened out over there.
The chain gang is having a tough time. Shout out to John Yolich. He would not be having any problems there on the sideline, for sure.
Yolich, Wildermuth, and DeMille are Hall of Famers.
That might be our chain gang A-team, Barry.
Absolutely. So right there, Buster Cepeda teaming up with Barry Gordon on a stop on the first down run. So nice job on that D line on the left-hand side of the defensive line for the Dolphins in bringing up a second down and 10. So that was Taylor on the carry. So they definitely, the skill players on this team rotate through. You're going to see Taylor in the backfield, Starks in the backfield, Caleb Rogers, who is a transfer from Hope, who they like a lot, will be there as well. Tyshawn Perkins, whose name we've said a few times, will be in the backfield as well. Now they're going to come out, and like we said, it's wishbone, 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 and now it's a spread. So Clayton has 2 receivers to his left, 2 to his right, with Taylor as the running back. In motion, reverse.
Nice play.
Sniffed out nicely, Joseph Clayton.
Nice, Joseph.
Well done by Joseph Clayton. So Clayton's coming from his linebacker position. Didn't get fooled on the reverse. Nice stop of no gain. So that's going to bring up 3rd down and 10. We've got 5 minutes and 12 seconds left here in the first quarter. I mean, I think our feeling coming in was this was going to be a close game and a game that you couldn't afford to make any mistakes on either side. You know, and the mistakes either through turnovers or penalties or missed big plays were going to be the difference in this game. And as tight as it is right now, that's probably what we're seeing. 3rd down and 10. Clayton back to pass, almost falls over. Now looking for a seam, and nice Opedele got him by the foot, and then Harrison Gassa cleaning up. So bringing up 4th down. So that was Clayton was Adrian Clayton. The Clark quarterback was rolling to his right, stumbled a little bit, but then Nefesimi Opedele coming from his D tackle spot was the first guy there, and then Harrison Gassa from the defensive end position took care of business on the end of it. So big play by the Dolphins, bringing up 4th down. 4th down and 15 from the 25-yard line.
I have Harrison Gassa on my fantasy team.
Yeah,
so
baby.
It's 8 points, PPR 9 already in this game.
Nicely done. Snap to Clayton. Opedele coming through. Now Gassa, Opedele. Rico D'Alessandro, pass is completed.
Nice, Dolphins.
Nicely done. So completed out there to Kendrick Bailey, but Opedele, you almost picked up some more points on that fantasy team with Harrison Gassa. Then Rico D'Alessandro from his defensive end position put on the final pressure. Great stop by the Dolphins there on 4th down.
A great change of direction by basketball player Rico and chased down the quarterback.
Thank you, Tyrone Slaughter, for having Rico D'Alessandro
Thanks,
out there. We'll turn him over to you in about 2 months' time. All right, so let's see if the Dolphins can get things rolling offensively. Last drive went nowhere. This drive starting at their 31-yard line. Newman, low snap, still gets it away to Anthony Hood. Hood spins his way for positive yardage. Well, they pick up a 2 or 3 on that. So maybe the best play on that was Newman corralling that snap and still being able to get it into Hood's hands for a positive gainer. I think we've got a little bit of a sideline fight going on here with the Clark team. We'll ignore that, and we'll just be watching what's going on the field, where the Dolphins have 2nd and 8 from the 34. Newman at quarterback, Clayton at running back, 4-receiver set. Newman back to pass. He's got a guy in his face, but he gets it away. Alex Dale, first down.
First down, Dolphins.
Yeah, nicely done. Newman had a guy in his face. I think looking at him right now, I think he bounced his hand off of a helmet. They're going to go to 2-minute mode right now with 2 minutes and 41 seconds left. So that was a first down across the 40-yard line to the 43. So Newman back. He's given the call to his receivers. He's got 3 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. Clayton in the backfield. Snap to Newman. He's got time. He's going deep.
Up top.
That's short. Unfortunately. Oh, Hood somehow corralled that thing.
The cameraman missed it. Sorry, Dolphins fans.
So Newman had the rush on him. He got that ball up in the air again into the wind. I thought it was going to be an INT. Somehow, the quarterbacks always say, it's just back shouldering that guy. So Anthony
we'll give it to him.
Back shouldered that thing. First down inside the 30, so at the 28-yard line. So again, Dolphins in a hurry-up mode. 2:17 left here. Clock is stopped. First down, handoff to Clayton. He gets met, still working those feet. So Clayton made a nice job getting through the line of scrimmage. He was tackled by Anthony Spearman Ramos, number 33 of Clark, 5'9", 230-pound junior.
Nice sustained drive here by the Dolphins. Took over with 3:35 left in the half.
Nicely done, yes. So now while they were in sort of a hurry up there, definitely a hurry up. I think at this point they've got 3 timeouts left, so plenty of ability to stop the clock. So Newman went over to the sidelines, got the play from Coach Finger. I think we might want to step on the gas here a little bit after this play, though. 2 receivers to his left, 2 to his right. Clayton behind him. Handoff to Clayton. He gets immediately in the backfield. That was number 9, Kamarian Rice, meeting Clayton in the backfield. Dolphins staying on the field with the clock running, 1:08 left. That brings up 3rd down and 7. 3rd and 7. Harrison Gassa and Alex Dale to the left, Duhan and Hood to the right. Newman calling out signals. Blitz coming, and the ball is picked off. It was tipped up in the air and picked off, and that's Willie Taylor taking it all the way in for a touchdown. So a blitz came off the right-hand side in Newman's face, and the ball got tipped straight up in the air into Taylor's hands, and he took it the distance for a touchdown. So breathes a lot of life back into the Clark sideline. They were looking at potentially going down 2 scores into halftime, and all of a sudden we've got ourselves a tie game here, 6-6. So they definitely, and I don't know, that might have been Kamarian Rice coming off that right-hand side, probably either Kajon Franklin. So those guys are, Franklin's 6'3", Kamarian Rice is 6'3". Somebody that had a good wingspan on that was in Newman's face and got a hand up. Clark is going to go for 2, looking to pick up the lead right before halftime here. Clayton with the handoff.
Good play.
Nice job by the Dolphins in stacking that up and keeping this a tie game. That was the call it the entire Dolphins defense. Looks like Tyson Hayes and Joseph Clayton in on that tackle. So that was big time. I mean, otherwise, we're going down after really putting together a nice drive. and then having the unfortunate interception. So tie score here.
I think an unfortunate tip. The ball tipped in the air and grabbed by, in my view, the best athlete on the team, Willie Taylor, the starting running back. So
yep.
Tough tip there for the Dolphins, but we're tied.
Tie ball game here. 35 seconds left in the first half. Dolphins might be happy to just collect this kickoff and maybe get into halftime. Looks like Will DeMille deep. Might be Anthony Hood as well. Clark again, kind of crazy kickoffs. This is a short one. Picked up by Brandon Dockett. Brandon Dockett out to the 45-yard line.
We saw that speed in the JV game this week.
Absolutely. Brandon Dockett is a sophomore and already has 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. One against Hope last year, and then this week against – who'd you play this week in JV?
Westinghouse.
Westinghouse. And there he just he's got some speed, man. Took off and ran. Now 28 seconds left. I think we got a timeout on the field. All right, so
looks like a timeout by Clark. Yeah.
Riverboat Dan, what are you going to do here?
I think number 12 looks to number 3 again. They're leaving him out there, I think, isolated on a sophomore corner. So give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, the look that Clark has been giving throughout this game is a man-to-man look on the wide receivers, and they're staying pretty tight on him. I mean, the Perkins is maybe backing off a step or two on Hood, but Anthony has the speed, and he has a whole lot of different releases, a lot of tricks in his bag, and something that he's worked on a lot. So it's not just that Anthony is a speed guy or a hands guy. He's got a lot of different stuff going on, but a bunch of other guys that can make it work as well. You got Rico D'Alessandro in the game, and Alex Dale to Newman's left, Hood and Duhan to his right. I think we might have a different running back in the game. We didn't. I was wrong. So what do we get? We got an illegal substitution on the defense.
We'll take the 5 free yards.
Take the 5, move it out to the 50. Now if we had Fernando Lozano.
Oh, he can make this.
Nando into the wind. 67-yarder right now. Well, I mean, he's in Boulder, Colorado right now, so you could probably make it in Boulder, yeah, with the altitude. Clark is collecting guys off the field again. A couple guys running off. A couple guys running on. So same setup for, and I think we're going to get another illegal substitution for Clark, I would imagine. But who knows? So some conversations going on down here between Taylor and Tyshawn Perkins, trying to get all that in a line. So we'll see what I guess they just called off that flag. I don't know. They can explain it to us at some point. So Dolphins with the ball, 1st and 5 at midfield. Newman at quarterback. He's got some time. Overthrown to Duhan. Anthony Hood had actually sprung free there. I'm not quite sure. That seemed like that was maybe a misread either by Newman or the receivers on what was going on that route. But 2nd and 5, 23 seconds left here. 6-6. Dolphins and Eagles knotted up in the first game of the conference schedule, the Chicago Public League. So now we flip the script. We've got Hood closest to us. Hood and Duhan on the 50. Newman looking to Alex Dale. Dale for a first down across the 45-yard line, out of bounds at the 42-yard line. So there's been some nice pitch and catch connections between Newman and Dale right now. 18 seconds left. So the Dolphins can probably spin another short pass here, and then try to wing some things deep again. Pretty stiff wind.
It is, yeah, it's picking up.
We've got a flag way down on the far end zone that we can see. Trips to Newman's right. Nice pickup of a blitz of Clayton. Just over Rico D'Alessandro's outstretched hands on the far side. So Clayton did a really nice job. There was a blitzer coming off that right-hand side, same spot that caused problems for Newman on that interception. And Clayton did a nice job putting the pads on him and giving Newman an extra split second. Pass just a little bit high. 2nd down and 10 from the 42. We got 14 seconds left. Duhan and Hood closest to us, to Newman's left. D'Alessandro and Alex Dale to his right. Nice job. Newman pitches it out to Rico D'Alessandro for a catch at the 30-yard line. Again, great blitz pickup. Joseph Clayton is doing the job back there right now. I mean, he's facing down against some of those either D-ends or outside linebackers that are rushing in that are towering over him, maybe in size but not in heart.
9 seconds left in the half.
Newman's got plenty of arm to put this in the end zone. It's just a matter of can he get enough time. So might roll another little out route here and pick up another 5 or 7 yards. There's a blitz on. Newman going deep. I'm going to say incidental contact probably on Perkins against Hood over there. I think Hood was looking at the referee wondering maybe something could do, but I think the pass was sort of well out of bounds to his right-hand side. So this will be the last play of the half, I think, with 4 seconds left. Ball at the 30. Coach Finger's going to take a timeout. I'm going to do that just because I figured out where I can do this in this software at calling a timeout, even though I know I missed 1 or 2. Look at that. Timeout, Whitney Young. You know what I could go for right now?
I'm trying to think. I'm thinking maybe a hoagie or a sub, depending on what part of the country. I don't know. Where do you think we should get those from?
I think Sorelli's. Sorelli's Finer Foods. Sorelli's finerfoods.com. Fire up an Italian beef sandwich. I know that Felicia Spivak has those sandwiches here chilling for post-game for the players. But, I don't know. Have you ever worked in a press box before?
Right.
Food in press boxes is pretty impressive. I'm thinking that maybe the live stream guys should get set up with some subs for halftime.
That might not be a bad idea. Sorelli's.
All right, so Dolphins going to come out here, going to load up 3 guys to the right-hand side, Hood, Dale, and Duhan. Let's give Newman some time. He's going to the other side. Oh!
Tight.
Almost reeled in by Rico D'Alessandro down the right-hand side. Newman gave him a chance, put the ball up there. Rico, our basketball player, our blue-chip recruit basketball player, made a play on the ball and almost brought in a catch here at the end of the first half. So, again, 6-6. Dolphins and Clark Eagles are tied up. One of these things, we talked about, and we'll get back to it, but, I guess I wouldn't say a mistake necessarily, and the tip ball gave Clark new life to tie the game at 6. The Dolphins have gone on 2 sustained drives. The touchdown drive took almost the entire first quarter, and now this last drive, really some positive yardage in the passing game that moved them downfield. So we'll collect ourselves here. We're going to talk about some other Whitney Young sports, talk about some Chicagoland and Illinois high school football. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us tonight. I'm Barry Newman, Jack Wildermuth joining me tonight. As always, our thank you to Tony McHale, who helps us get on air and helps us with just about everything else. Tony also was my personal counselor all week on talking me through the live stream debacle of last week.
Could we call Tony the godfather of Whitney Young?
Absolutely,
football?
we can.
I think we can.
Yes.
I think we can.
Then you know what the Godfather would like to have as an offering?
What do you think, Barry?
I think Sorelli's Italian beef sandwiches.
The Godfather would love.
I think he would love it with a cheese tray. So let's hit some other Whitney Young sports, and we're going to start off at the top and talk about the JV game. So the JV team won 28-14 this week against Westinghouse, and I guess I'll have to note on this a big difference. We talked about different COVID things that went on a couple of years ago. A big COVID rule that was in place last year was that you weren't allowed to play both JV and varsity, which is I think a frustration point for a lot of the coaches. This year, you're allowed to play 6 quarters during the course of a week. So as I read through these highlights provided to me by Coach Connor O'Donnell, you'll notice some of the same names that were on the field today. So we're not doing anything illegal out there. These guys are playing, many of them playing 4 in the varsity game, 2 in the JV game. So let me go through this. You'll notice a name that we just mentioned. Rico D'Alessandro played quarterback for the first time in the season on the JV game. Scrambled for a few large chunk plays, one of which ended up being a 10-yard run for the game's first touchdown. His best throw came during the 2-point conversion when he threw an end zone fade to Joseph Gray, who also had a few catches. So again, Joseph Gray starting tonight at cornerback for the varsity Dolphins. Defensively, our guy Brandon Dockett made a couple great pass breakups, but couldn't come down with any interceptions. Westinghouse had an athletic QB whose best plays came off of a couple inside zone reads. But Coach O'Donnell wanted to shout out his DNs for containing that. Mason McCoo with a couple great gator tackles in the open field. Coach O'Donnell talked about both Mason and Raytang Scottemeyer as the best tacklers on that JV team right now. Second touchdown, we've mentioned it already, was a Brandon Dockett kickoff return for a touchdown to open the second half. And then the game was tied with 14 with 5 minutes left and Westinghouse driving into Whitney Young territory. But the Dolphins got a big stop on 4th down. Then we got the ball and a penalty put us within our own 10, so pushed back on that. Then a bubble screen to Brandon Dockett, who took it all the way to the house, which sort of like me getting excited on the Joseph Clayton call earlier tonight. I was called back on a penalty.
It was called back on a penalty, a nifty move by the Young Dolphin there.
Yeah. So with about a minute left, the offense ended up in a 4th and short. Von Conrad, who was then in the game at quarterback, faked a pitch, ran up the middle, and took it all the way to the sideline for a 50-yard touchdown. Then with Westinghouse back on the field in the closing seconds, a pick 6 to Aaron Champion to finish off the scoring for that 28-14 win. JV returns to action this week at home against Farragut, Tuesday, 4:30. So please, if you're in town, Whitney Young fans, come out, cheer on that JV team. If you're also listening to this and you want to join the chain gang for that game, feel free to let me know. Looking at
just an exciting time there. A good student came out. It's so nice to be able to have a home game for the JV. It was a neat environment.
Yeah, and I have to say, one of the things that I love about this program and some of my favorite moments, I'm glad you brought that up, is while varsity is practicing on the side, then they'll come over and they'll watch those JV games. And I just remember being at those last year just being electric, because there's an expression in Whitney Young football, and it's family. Forget about me, I love you. And Coach Finger talks about love. He talks about being a team and being together, and it's pretty cool watching the guys. I have to say, after that game, so I just read what Coach OD sent me. Bennett gave me all the play-by-play when he got home because he was so fired up about what he watched, what all the varsity guys watched. So he told me all of these plays already, which I just love about this program. And it starts from Coach Finger and it goes down from there.
It was fantastic. Anthony, Bennett, Quinn, a lot of they were actively rooting for the team, and it was cool to see.
Yep, good stuff, Dolphins. On to a few other sports. Boys golf. I didn't get any updates this week, but I know that they won their first 2 matches, 11 strokes over Taft and by 1 stroke over Lane, out at my home course, Stanley Maravitz. you're apt to see me shooting in the mid to upper 50s on 9 holes there once a week. Volleyball off to a great start, so 4-0 in conference play. They're 12-4 overall. Sweep by the JV and the varsity versus Northside Prep and Lindblom, and I think also a win over Lane this week. Jordan Rogers leads that crew, 121 kills. I would, again, if you like to see some action, come out and see Whitney Young Volleyball. Check them out on Instagram as well. They have awesome highlights, and Jordan Rogers, I would not want to be on the receiving end of a Jordan Rogers spike. Girls flag football got off on the right pass. Hopefully the boys team tonight can replicate what the girls team did, and that was a 42-12 win over Clark against Sonali Angus, the QB1 on that team. And the girls flag football team squares off against Walter Payton tomorrow. A couple other notes. Skylar Jones, I think I've mentioned earlier. Great article. Whitney Young's actually gotten a couple good articles over the last couple weeks. So Nefasimi Opedele, we've mentioned his name a couple times tonight. Offensive lineman, defensive lineman. Great article about him, about coming to the U.S. from Nigeria. And just the experience for him, arriving somewhere, just a different experience, and just really fun to hear from him, hear from his coaches, because Opedele means a ton to this team. He was one of those core guys that is always there, helping other guys out, really setting a great example, especially in the weight room. So the other article was about Skylar Jones. So Skylar Jones is a women's basketball player. Skylar was just ranked by ESPN W and Hoop Girls as the number 96 prospect in the country. So Skylar is awesome. I mean, I got to see her at the end of last year in the city championships, and she just took over in the second half against Kenwood. She averaged 18 points, 5 boards, 5 steals, and 3 assists last year. And she's got her final 5 down for scholarship offers: Syracuse, Missouri, Mississippi State, Rutgers, and Illinois. So again, it sounds like, I don't want to say I spend a lot of time on social media because I'm very focused on what I do. I follow Whitney Young Dolphins, maybe some Green Bay Packers stuff, and maybe some Northwestern Wildcat stuff. And
I think that counts as 2, Barry.
And but I also follow Skylar Jones, and so I did see she posted something from Missouri today, like she was driving somewhere close to the University of Missouri. So I think it's just for some of these guys, these players getting recruited, they want to tell everybody where they are and get everybody thinking, is that going to be the choice? Another note on the basketball side, taking you back a couple years, DJ Stewart, who was a star at Whitney Young and then went on to Georgetown, I think, if I'm right on DJ Stewart.
He went to Duke first.
Yes. Actually, yeah, I was wrong. So he was just at Duke. Then he came out early, maybe just played his freshman year and was in the G League, but he just signed a contract with Sacramento Kings. So for the big club. So hopefully we'll see him next year playing in the NBA, which is pretty cool.
It's great for DJ. Yeah, he's a class of 2020, and the kids in the class of 22 really liked him. Just seemed like a super positive individual and a real force on the basketball court there for Coach Slaughter.
So if we move over, and we mentioned a few of these things on the Open, and we talk about Chicago Public League football, it is the opening of conference schedule today. So one big game that's going on right now that I'm fascinated to hear the outcome of, and that is Lane taking on Taft. Because if talking about the line in Vegas, to have Lane at 3-0 and Taft at 0-3 at this point of the year, you probably could have made a lot of money on that prop bet. So that's what's going to be interesting. I mean, Taft has played some really, really tough competition to open the year. And they lost to Kenwood in a close game last week. I think before that they had lost their first 2 games by a combined 6 points. So that's Taft. That's led by Greg Krupa, who's an offensive defensive lineman who's going to play somewhere next year at the college level. They've got a lot of guys back. They took it to us last year at their place. I think it's Justin Padilla. Padilla is his last name, freshman running back last year, leading them, running back. Their quarterback is back. One of their middle linebackers is back. So they've got a lot of things there. I think they're going to put it together. Lane has been the surprise story of the year and getting a lot of ink in the Sun-Times as well. They're running basically the wishbone or double wing attack there. Finn Merrill, Casey Joyce, Spiro Minos leading that charge. I got to see a little bit of the end of their game against Hubbard last week, and they were just walking the ball up and down the field. So they come in at 3-0, Taft at 0-3. Big game. Another game to note on that side of things is that Westinghouse takes on Phillips. So Westinghouse is 2-1, coming off a big win against Robbie in the Janice Jackson Bowl last week. Phillips is 0-3. And Jack, you know what it means that Phillips is 0-3?
It doesn't mean too much because they're going to be good.
It means absolutely nothing at all. Phillips also takes on the big suburban programs at the beginning of the year. I think they started last year 0-2 or 0-3 or 1-2, and then they turn on the Jets when it comes to conference play. So Taft and Phillips are definitely the class on this side of the division. But interesting to see what Lane's putting together. We're going to see them in another week right here at Lane Stadium. A home game for us at Lane Stadium, 10 a.m. But that's what's on tap tonight on our side of the division. Other side of the division, not quite as interesting. The powerhouses, Kenwood, Simeon, and Morgan Park. Kenwood going against Hubbard, Simeon against Brooks, Morgan Park against Curie. So I think those games played both tonight and tomorrow. You want me to take you around a little bit wider? Should I expand my circle with 2 minutes left here?
I think you're good. Let's get outside of the city a bit.
Okay,
Barry.
okay.
Sounds
Let's
good.
talk about number 12 Prospect playing against number 8 Maine South last night. That game ended 42-41. Prospect quarterback Brad Vernizio. This guy's put up Madden numbers over the last few weeks. His opening quarter, 89-yard pass to Northwestern recruit Brent Covey IV.
89 yards.
Yeah, yep. But Covey actually went out with an ankle injury later. Maine South had the lead. Prospect, and I watched the highlights. The Sun-Times reporter Michael O'Brien was at the game, so he filmed some of the stuff from the end zone. Vernizio was on the run with, I think it was 40 seconds left in the game, and was able to, on a sort of a broken play, was able to hit his running back for the touchdown. And then they went for two for the win, and he basically cartwheeled into the end zone for the win for number 12 Prospect. They've been putting on a show so far this year, and that
exciting.
Maine South is such a great established program. Really have a lot going on there. Couple other notes. Pretty cool. Fenger defeated DuSable last night. Normally I wouldn't talk about that stuff, but you know what that was? That was the first ever matchup of female coaches in high school football.
That's great.
Yep. So Nikki Mayfield and Kenosha Rhea were the first female head coaches that squared off in a game. And at first they thought it was just IHSA, but they checked around and it seemed like that's everywhere. So cool that happened. A few other games real quickly I'll try to hit. The Dolphins are out here going to get their stretch going, and then we'll get the second half underway. Marist against Mount Carmel. So Marist number 9, Mount Carmel number 1. Mount Carmel, the Caravan, are rolling right now. They've beaten their solid opponents, St. Rita, Phillips, and Notre Dame by a combined score of 121-3. So Mount Carmel's got a ton. On the Marist side, you've got a bunch of D1 guys all over the place. So Jamel Howard is going to Wisconsin, John Nestor going to Iowa, Ryan Sims going to Miami of Ohio. That's for you, Ellison Newman. And Carnell Tate isn't on that team. Carnell Tate is going to Ohio State, the Ohio State University. He's playing at IMG, but he spent his first year or two at Marist. So that's a shout-out for you there, Jack Wildermuth.
That's nice. That Buckeye receiver room is hard to get into, so happy to see a Chicago young lad heading there.
Yep. Number 15, Joliet Catholic takes on Providence. Should be a nice, fun game in the Catholic League. Joliet Catholic is the defending 4A champs, led by offensive lineman Northwestern recruit Anthony Versa. Brother Rice taking on number 2 Loyola tomorrow. So Brother Rice that could be a matchup of some, well, not a matchup directly, but two of the best defensive linemen in the state. So Roderick Pierce III going to Wisconsin. He plays for Brother Rice. And then Brooks Barr, who is going to Michigan, is many people say the top. I just got a thumbs down from Wildermuth here, but Brooks Barr, great defensive lineman out at Loyola. So that'll be an interesting matchup. Naperville North, ranked number 6, 3-0 right now, going to Neuqua Valley, who's 2-1. Naperville North, you know who their quarterback is, Jack?
Naperville North, I do not know.
Aiden Gray. You know Aiden Gray is going next year?
I want to say Wildcats.
Northwestern Wildcats. So Aiden Gray's got 582 total yards and 8 touchdowns so far. Just a note out there, if you sense a trend here, Pat Fitzgerald and that staff at Northwestern is doing a great job of recruiting Chicagoland football, which, I mean, they do a great job nationally, struggle a little bit on the field last couple of years, but also been in the Big Ten championship game 2 of the last 5 years against.
Twice against the Buckeyes, and then they were hanging tough there. So it's a good,
great program, and I know that Coach Finger is very fond of the Northwestern Wildcats and how they do things up there. A few other games: Fenwick against De La Salle. That's a shout out for the Hosty family that I know well. That's over at Fenwick. E.J. Hosty, starting quarterback. And De La Salle, our shout out for Scott Clayton, who will join us again on the live stream in the future here. Marmon against St. Ignatius. I'm going to get another Ohio State reference in. Justin Scott, who is, by many accounts, the #1 offensive lineman in the state, had offers from just about everywhere. Picked up his offer from the Ohio State University in the last 2 weeks here. And then we also have Lincoln Park against Peyton, so a little local action to do it. So how was that, everybody?
That's a great recap, Barry. That's fantastic. And then for those with the bingo card out, it's 4 Northwestern references and 3 Wildcat references so far in the game. So I
like to keep it. I like to switch it up like that. You know, I mean, just keep people on their toes. I don't have many Green Bay Packer references, but Packers Bears this week, people. So you can make a weekend of it. You know what I would think? Think about this. Think if you fired up an order of 24 Italian beef sandwiches from Sorelli's.
I think Sorelli's would be a great thing to order for that Sunday night game.
Well, think
Packers,
about that.
Bears.
I mean, I would just roll it through the entire weekend, right? I'd have some at the Dolphins-Clark-Eagles game. I'd have some at that Northwestern-Southern Illinois game tomorrow, and then I'd cap it off.
Well, we got Saturday night Toledo Buckeyes.
Ooh, action.
Saturday night. Some
onside kick that's going
network.
Nowhere, but you have to get on top of it still. So Alex Dale got up for the onside kick. Didn't go anywhere, and Clark's going to take over. Why I was getting excited there is that the Dolphins were kind of standing around a little bit there because they were thinking, hey, I don't want to touch this. It hasn't gone 10 yards. If a heads-up Clark player would have swooped in, they could have just picked up that ball and taken it to the house. So that's not a play that comes up very often, but at that point you want to just take get on top of that ball and take the penalty and get on with it. So Clark's going to take over in Eagle territory. So Riverboat Dan Finger rolled the dice, didn't come up with what we wanted there. So at the 42-yard line with 12 minutes left, Clayton as the quarterback for Clark. And a fumble, and there's going to be a scrum down there, but I think that Barry Gordon is going to come up with that ball. He didn't. I think Clayton was able to get back on top of it. Barry Gordon, BG3, had a hand in there but couldn't corral it away. So that was a mishandled snap. Clark right back up to the line. So you got the quarterback is Clayton. He's got Taylor deep. Handoff to Taylor. Clayton and Nick Dale on that tackle.
Good group tackling there. Well, could I say a pod?
Yeah, you can say the pod of Dolphins. You can do that. Absolutely. So good job of Clayton filling from his linebacker position.
Third down. This is a game that's had some long possession by the Dolphins. You know, this is Clark's only Clark's third possession of the game.
So 3rd and 8 from the 40-yard line. Quarterback is Clayton in that bunch set. Hands it off. Oh. We had Joseph Gray stumbled on the outside. He might have been in a good position for a tackle. Alex Dale cleaned things up on the backside, but that's a big first down run on 3rd and long for the Clark Eagles and Willie Taylor. So it looked like Joseph Gray just kind of got his feet tangled up a little bit. So again, Gray and Pantoja as freshman corners. Here we've mentioned Luke Yolich out with an injury. It puts Hood at the deep safety position. He has an interception already if you're just joining us. Everybody crowded at the line of scrimmage. Alex Dale shooting up the middle. Nick Dale almost brought down the guy in the backfield. Pantoja.
Nice tackle.
And Quinn Duhan. Oh, actually Barry Gordon, sorry. Pantoja and Barry Gordon taking care of Clayton. Adrian Clayton of Clark. Picked up about 4 or 5 on that. So it'll be 2nd down. We're going to call it 4. 2nd down and 6. From the Dolphin 23-yard line. So again, there was a onside kick that did not go anywhere for the Dolphins to start off the second half, which puts Clark right in Dolphin territory. Number 3, Clayton is the quarterback. He's got 3 backs behind him. He's back to pass. He's got. So that's Spivey, number 24, who fumbles it. So Barry Gordon was all over that play. And Opedele, Nefesimi Opedele on the tackle at the end, but really nice pursuit. I think first from Buster Cepeda up the middle, then some from Rico D'Alessandro, and then finally Barry Gordon with a really nice play. That actually worried me a bit because Spivey, number 24, I saw a play earlier where he caught that little screen pass and made a couple great spin moves, not in this game. I think it was their game against Brooks. And I thought that guy could be kind of dangerous in space. I mean, he's 5'8", 230, a little Jerome Bettis build on him. So that brings up 3rd down. So loss of yardage on that play. So 3rd and 13. Motion, handoff to Perkins. Filling up here. Nice Great tackle, Tyson Hayes. Tyson Hayes staying home on that. Pursuing and making a great tackle on Perkins. Heck of a play, Tyson Hayes. Tyson has really, really continued to grow and improve every single game. So this is one of the other things that we spotted before. And not that I think I would do anything differently here, not that I know anything. But Clark doesn't do much punting. They have they're challenged on that long snap to punter exchange. So they're going to go for it here. 4th and long. If the Dolphins can get a stop here, they're going to put themselves in good field position. But let's get that stop first. So Perkins in motion. Looking deep. Just knock it down. Oh, that's ridiculous. If they're going to call pass interference on Pantoja, that's going to be one of the most ridiculous calls.
If anything, it should be offensive.
Exactly. I mean, I was hoping Pantoja. I mean, unbelievable. That was an absolutely terrible, terrible call. That was a terrible call. I mean, I don't even know who was on. It's not the NFL. It's not a spot foul. It's a 10-yard foul, but it's a first down. Pantoja was back there on coverage. Who knows? Who knows? This is what happens.
Really
Chicago Public League refs.
Really tough call.
Going to be first down at the 22-yard line. That would have been Dolphins ball. Ridiculous call. All right, I'm going to do some deep breathing and move on.
Well, fortunately, unlike the game 2 years ago, Coach Finger is still in the game after a bad call.
He's not in the parking lot. So Clayton, the quarterback for the Eagles, they've got new life, 1st and 10, just outside the 20. There's a pass over on the side. Nice coverage by Quinn Duhan, although the receiver gets away and types her up down the sidelines. Gets inside the 5-yard line. So I think that was Duhan over there with the initial pursuit. Either Duhan or it might have been Clayton. Sorry, we're a little far away here. So Eagles knocking on the door thanks to a ridiculous, how many times do I have to say that, penalty.
Bad call.
So it's going to be 1st and goal inside the 5, so at about the 3-yard line. Clayton, the quarterback for the Eagles, he's got Willie Taylor, number 1, and Spivey, number 24, deep behind him. Dolphins crowding the line of scrimmage. That's a give and a push by the entire Clark line. I think he's going to be held short. So that was the quarterback, Clayton, taking it on a quarterback sneak. So picked up 2 or 3 down to about the 1-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down. Clark is just getting right back to it. Clark with a 2nd down. Again, the quarterback keeper. Dolphins trying to hold out, but eventually the Clark offensive line pushes in for a touchdown. So that drive started with an onside kick that didn't go the Dolphins' way. Then the Dolphins had Clark stopped on an incompletion on 4th down in the end zone. That was inexplicably called a pass interference call, even though there wasn't a defender within 5 yards of the receiver. And now the Eagles have punched it in for a score. They're trying to get the right team on the field for the extra point. And I'm sure they're going to go for 2 here. So it'll be Clayton. So we'll put up the score there for the Eagles. And in for the 2-point conversion for the Eagles. So the Eagles are going to go up. Eagles are going to go up 14-6. 5:43 left in the 3rd quarter. So the Dolphins going to hopefully get back on the field here on the offensive side. And we knew this game was going to be close. I called it a pick'em. We talked about the big plays, either turnovers or mistakes. So Clark is going to kick off. We've got, I think, Dockett and DeMille deep. Clark kicking off from their 40. And that's an onside kick for them. And the Dolphins get right on top of it. That was Barry Gordon, BG3,
nice,
recovering that onside kick. So hopefully we can say that Clark returned us the favor here, giving us the ball just outside of midfield.
Young will be starting that drive from the 47-yard line.
So Newman in at quarterback. Receivers in the field, Gassa, Alex Dale, Quinn Duhan, and Anthony Hood. Duhan in motion to the left. Clayton at running back. Newman, quick flip out to Duhan. Duhan still on his feet across the 40-yard line with a first down.
Yeah, the Dolphins have moved the ball nicely. This is the 5th possession, Barry. Outside of 1 3 and out, they've moved it the 3 others. So hopefully we can get a sustained drive again.
So offensive line doing the job there.
For sure.
Quick pitch and catch to Duhan, who then shook the first tackler and got out for a first down. All right, Newman, just snap it. You got big man running on the field. Don't wait for him. So
timeout.
Clark's going to take a timeout.
The one thing I would say about your broadcast, Barry, is the technology is superior than under the McHale regime with the timeouts in particular. That's something that Dolphin football didn't have before.
So, Jack, but we're going to have to walk back this a little bit, because while I was putting all this stuff in on the scoreboard and we were seeing it down there, I don't actually think it was being displayed to everybody else. Tony just sent me a text and he said, scoreboard? And I'm like, what do you mean scoreboard? So I think that I actually had it in there, but I didn't overlay it. So while I appreciate the compliment, it actually I was coming up short on that one.
Do not want to upset the Godfather.
Yeah, well, that's where you do it. Like, we do not. Tony, you demand. So now Hood back in at quarterback. Hood with a keeper to his right, and across the 40-yard, across the 35. On that first down play.
And speaking of Italian things, you know what would be super tasty right now while watching the Dolphins game at home?
Yeah, I sure do. Let's talk about Sorelli's.
I think Sorelli's Italian sub.
Absolutely. Italian sub and cheese tray. Newman back in at quarterback. Gasa, Duhan, Alex Dale to his right, Clayton in the backfield, Hood to the top, Dale in motion, safety creeps up, handoff to Clayton, picking his way. There you go, Joseph Clayton. Clayton out for first down yardage. That first down brought to you by Sorelli's Finer Food and Italian Beef. We got to get more sponsors.
I like it. We do.
Actually not. Let's. We're really happy with the one we have. So first down, Dolphins driving inside the 30. So it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. Offensive line doing their work up there. MJ Woods, Nick Dale, Nefesimi Opedele, Buster Cepeda, Jason Perez. Newman gets the snap, rolls to his left, looking to his left. He's got Alex Dale. And for a first down, but a flag on the play. So I would bet that we're going to see a holding call here. So that was a nice rollout. Newman rolled to his left and was able to hit Dale again, but this play is going to be coming back. So Dolphins will be chasing the sticks here a little bit. Might be playing against two teams right now.
Appears to be the case, Barry. And I played high school football in Ohio. The spot foul holding on a pass is absolutely amazingly brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal because you get that call is in the backfield, so they take it from where the hold happened and then they march off 10.
1st and 30?
Yep. Yep. So we're going to lobby for a rule change there.
IHSA, come on.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. Dale in motion. Newman with the snap. Blitz is coming. He's got time. He's going deep. Anthony Hood. Oh, just over the outstretched hand of Anthony Hood. Newman shot a laser down the hash just over Anthony's hand. Anthony got a hand on it, but a little bit high on that. That would have been a first down on that 1st and 30 play. So brings up 2nd down. Again, Newman getting a little bit of time there, getting some separation from those receivers. So while they've got a huge mountain to climb here on 2nd down, let's see if we can put that together. Clark walking up a few extra line. They're going to bring 6 or 7 without a doubt. Man coverage in the backfield. Maybe a little bit of confusion. Newman rolling to his left.
Play action. Good play.
And Anthony Hood dropped the ball, which just rarely, if ever, happens. But he let that ball get into his body a bit too much and dropped it over on the left-hand side. So that's going to bring up 3rd and a long, long way.
Mistake by the color man there. My maiden voyage.
Well, that happens, and we can't blame you. So 3rd and long, 14-6, Clark lead with 3:26 left in the 3rd quarter. Newman now rolling to his right. Got a bunch of people on him. Ball got tipped. They're trying to do that backside screen to Anthony Hood, but it got tipped before it could get out to him. So that's going to bring on the punt team. Again, Brandon Bardsma out as the punter right now, injured. So Alex Dale in the game, going to punt from the Clark 40, kicks it up. That might, that was woulda, coulda, shoulda. So it bounced off of a Clark shoulder pad, and Starks, number 2, was able to fall on top of it before a Dolphin could get to it. So that not a lot of distance on the punt, almost played into the Dolphins' favor. So here's where the Dolphins' defense has got to come up big. And while they've had some plays and they've been able to hold their own, we're down 14-6 right now in the 3rd quarter. And we knew this was going to be a tight game. We knew it was going to swing on a couple big plays here or there. Right now, those big plays are going against the Dolphins. So the holding call on that last drive stalled out. I mean, it was a completion to Alex Dale for a first down. Would have been inside the 20. So that marched it back. And, of course, the penalty on the last Clark possession. And then in the first half, it was the tip ball pick 6 for Clark. So the Dolphins have, in many ways outplayed the Clark Eagles, but they're down on the scoreboard 14-6. So now you got to put it together. You got to have the big plays go your way, and you got to and I don't know how I can keep saying this stuff and these things come up. So there was a bobbled snap, and the ball bounced straight up in the air to the running back for the Eagles, and we do have a Dolphin that's down on the play right now. So I think it might be Quinn Duhan down right now. He's bringing some heat from the safety spot on the left-hand side. So he's down on the field right now. Trainer out checking on him. Coach Finger checking on him as well. So we'll have a stoppage of play. Clark leading 14-6, 2:56 left in the 3rd quarter. And I'm going to hydrate here. Oh, here's my Gatorade. I'm hoping that that's what Quinn Duhan needs to do. Maybe a cramp over there, hopefully.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. He's right back on his feet. That's good.
I think that might have been it. I mean, again, I'm hoping that's what it is. Just where he how he went down and kind of like grabbing the back of his leg. But now he's up without limping off. So I think he might be fine. We see him just stretching over there on the sideline, which we are.
He comes from a tough family with Akron, Ohio DNA flowing through his veins. He's going to be just fine.
Yeah, that's just gravel, right? It's just gravel that's going through your veins.
If you're from Akron.
So Clayton still has it. He fumbles, and again, how does this possibly happen?
The bounces are going the way of Clark.
That ball was on the turf after a nice tackle of Clayton. They're going to call it an incomplete pass, which is also ridiculous because he was clearly running, clearly got hit, clearly fumbled the ball, and they call it an incomplete pass. These guys are absolutely terrible.
And the clock is still running somehow.
Yeah, right. Why not, right? Because it was an incomplete pass. So maybe they're stopping the clock now at least. Because the clock operator is looking at the play and saying, there's no way that that's an incomplete pass. How could we possibly call that an incomplete pass? Okay, so Clark back on the field. Offense, third down, third and about 6 or 7. So Duhan checking back in, which is nice to see. So I think it was probably a cramp. So
2:10.
So they did call out that as an incomplete pass, and 2:10 going back on the clock here. Big third down play. Big third down for the Dolphins. They've got Clark backed up at the 30. If they can get a stop here, Clark would be stop on the third down. So run up the middle. And Willie Taylor is just a tough runner, and he just kept his legs going. You can't tackle that guy high, man. He is just strong and shifty in the hole. So he ends up with a first down at the 45-yard line. So that was a big play for for Clark. After they picked up a couple fortuitous bounces, 2 or 3 early in this possession, but they're pushing close to Dolphins territory. So Rodgers now in the game. Talk about Rodgers sort of being that little guy just hiding behind the line and then picking a hole. We'll see. He gets the handoff and met immediately. Duhan with the gravel in his veins and BG3 on the tackle. So that was a nice job. Somebody came shooting through early. That might have been Clayton. But then that right-hand side of the Dolphins defense with, again, Duhan playing down in that box area in that strong safety position, taking care of business. D-line right now, Jason Perez is in, number 67. Nefesimi Opedele, number 55. So they picked up about 2.5 yards on that play. So second down and 8. Clayton under center for Clark. He keeps it. Tyson Hayes almost with a tackle, but Clayton just kept his feet alive.
It's a good run.
Got it into Dolphins territory. I think he was eventually brought down by, it was Rico D'Alessandro over on that side, but Tyson Hayes had a shot at him deep in the backfield. So Clark just getting some fortuitous plays and then grinding positive yardage on the ground. And that's been their recipe. And that's going to bring us to the end of the third quarter. I also have quarters here, so even though, again, Jack, I mean, I'm doing a terrible job on the scoreboard here. Oh, there we go. End of third. We're going to move it to the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, and then the third quarter, Clark held the ball for most of it. Whitney Young had the ball for just 2 minutes out of the 12.
Yeah, so 2 minutes on a drive that looked promising and then got walked back. So 14-6 here. Plenty of time for the Dolphins to put things together, but you need a stop right now.
Big play here.
Need a stop. Starting off the fourth quarter right now. And Clark is, again, we talked about it. I mean, this is a big game on the longer term if you look at the schedule. So we talked about Taft and Phillips, and historically, even though those teams are 0-3 right now, they're going to come out with a vengeance in conference play. So then you're looking at the other teams in this side of the division are Clark, Westinghouse, Lane, and Whitney Young. And so the way the Chicago Public League playoffs work is the top 4 on our side go to the city playoffs. So Clark and Whitney Young are teams that are going to be scrapping for likely those, 3rd, 4th, 5th spots.
Nice.
All right.
Big 4th down coming up.
Alex Dale was in early, and I haven't mentioned it, but I was talking to some of the Dolphin players this week, and Jason Perez told me that playing on this turf is like it's slippery, and that you could see Taylor put his foot in the ground to make a cut, and he just slipped. Now Alex Dale had sealed off that edge, but big time play, because that was 3rd and a yard or 2. Now brings up 4th and 3. 4th and 3.5. Huge play here. There's a handoff, and Alex Dale is not going to let go on that one. Big time play, Alex Dale. There's your senior leadership.
It's fantastic. That was from the game 2 years ago. 2 prominent players, Alex Dale, Willie Taylor. They meet again at Lane Stadium. Big play.
So the Dolphins will take over at the 50-yard line. Let's see if we can get some things moving. Running game hasn't, had some life early on. Let's just snap this ball. Those guys are out of position. Let's go. I guess the referees, no, they weren't holding off. I'm not quite sure why the Dolphins didn't go. I don't think they were
12.
set.
They have 12.
Go. So I don't know. Clark might have called a timeout. Yep, Clark just called a timeout. A lot of confusion. So I think that's their 2nd timeout. And I get kind of fired up here. I'm just trying to.
I guess I didn't ask you, Barry. Are you allowed to root for the Dolphins on the broadcast?
This is the Whitney Young Dolphins football broadcast.
Okay. Not an independent arbiter here.
Absolutely
Let's
not.
Go Dolphins.
We make no bones. I mean, we try to do a good job and call out the opposing players as much as we can. But no, I'm unabashedly. I mean, you cut me, man. I'm bleeding orange and blue. But don't cut me. I mean, that's just an expression.
We're not going to check it, but we know it's in there.
All right, so now with the first down, Anthony Hood comes out at the quarterback position. Again, maybe the Dolphins trying to get the Clark jumped off sides. I actually sent Bennett a text. Now, I don't know if he still had his phone with him because they might have been on the bus at that point, but I said, hard count these guys. They're going to jump off sides all week. I think they've played against some teams that their offensive lines have not gotten off the ball, and they are hungry and ready to jump on that defensive line. And I think we can pick up yardage all night by a hard count, or you do that hard count, and then they have to think a little bit more in getting off the line. So Hood picked up that 5 yards on the penalty. Newman back in at quarterback now. You got Hood to his left, 3 receivers to his right. Oh, man. So it was behind Alex Dale and right into the hands of number 4, LaKendrick Bailey. So I think that Newman had a little reverse pivot on that, had Dale open, and just threw it a little bit behind him. Alex got a hand on the ball and probably slowed it up enough to end up in LaKendrick Bailey's hands. That's the second big play tonight for Bailey, who's a sophomore. I think, again, we're seeing Quinn Duhan really trying to stretch out. Gravel just doesn't flow very well down to your calves in a game like this, so he's trying to stretch it out. We got to get that guy hydrated, see if fire up some Gatorades for him on the sidelines. And now it puts the Dolphin defense back on the field after that big stop for them. So hopefully 11 minutes left here in the game. Dolphins trailing 14-6. That's a pitch to Taylor. He's stacked up, almost gets away. Nice job on the backside by Joseph Clayton. So the other thing I'm noticing here is that the Clark has made a switch at quarterback. So Tayshawn Perkins is now taking the snaps. I still see Clayton over here on the sidelines. So I know that Perkins had played quarterback earlier in the season. So now Clayton comes back on. So again, they rotate a lot of those skill positions around. Clayton went out there without his helmet on. Now he's coming back off. Spivey comes off. Number 4, LaKendrick Bailey in the game.
Number 10, Cassius Clay checks into the game.
Yeah, and I think that's got to be illegal substitution because Clark broke the huddle with, I don't know, 12, 13, 18 guys. So that's gonna take them back 5 yards. And this is, hopefully, again, the bounces have all gone their way. The calls have probably gone their way. Again, a little Dolphin bias, sorry about that. But this is where we got to get a stop. So they shot themselves in the foot for 5 yards there. Looks like, I think Perkins stays in the game at quarterback. He gets the snap. He's looking deep. Opedele coming. Turnaround Pentoha off the hands of Cassius Clay, the receiver. So Perkins is not happy. He had Cassius Clay was
open. We were
floating like a butterfly out there.
He sure was. He had it, although we were step for step with them on the speed.
Yep. So, 3rd down, I do believe, right? 3rd down? I can't trust 3rd down. So, my guys caught up with me over there. Again, they're looking deep. Opedele coming up the middle. Gassa pursuing. Alex Dale pursuing. 1st down. So big time 1st down run for Tayshawn Perkins there on 3rd and long. So that's another long play, another way behind the sticks play that Clark is able to pick up. So we're getting a little late here. I'm starting to get worried. 9:38 left in the 4th quarter. Clark leading 14-6. So Perkins at quarterback, looking to throw deep. Looks over the middle, wide open is Franklin. He's wrestled down by Anthony Hood. So now the ball is inside the 25-yard line, about to the 22. So Franklin is a tight end, doesn't see a lot of passes his way, but now with Perkins in the game, it seems like Clark is going to step on the gas from a passing game. And they've been successful on this drive. So not something, I think the Dolphins in zone coverage, and Franklin was just sort of able to sit down in that middle zone before Anthony could close on him. So some confusion again. Pentoha trying to flip over to the other side. Joseph Gray, the other corner. Snap to Perkins. He's also looking deep. Nefesimi Opedele put the pressure on him. Rico D'Alessandro, great job. Great job, Rico D'Alessandro. Held his lane, held the edge. That's what you need to do as a defensive end. So Rico D'Alessandro, a freshman, but doing a serious experience play there. He's played a lot of tackle football in his life, and he knew what his assignment was there. Don't let anybody get outside of you. So Nefesimi's been blowing things up the middle, forcing quarterbacks out of the pocket, and there D'Alessandro was able to make them pay. So it's going to bring up 2nd down and about 14 yards at the 28-yard line. 7:58 left here in the 4th quarter. Clark with a 14-6 lead. Dolphins have moved the ball but haven't been able to put things away. Have had a couple interceptions. Clark driving now. Perkins in at quarterback with Willie Taylor as the running back. Handoff to Taylor. Barry Gordon pursuing him. And then a big high-low tackle from Duhan and Clayton to finish it up. So I'll say this, Barry Gordon on that play, his his opportunity there was going to be a horse collar tackle, and he pulled back at the last second, which was really smart from him, because otherwise that gives them an automatic first down and then a big high-low tackle. Now, again, Taylor is a great running back. He picked up 9 yards on that play, so that's going to bring up 3rd down.
Big play here for the Dolphins defense.
3rd down and 5. So now Rogers actually, as under center, to the pitch to Taylor. Taylor still on his feet now.
We
flag
might be getting a hold.
Flag came down. We gotta hope it's a hold here, based on the results of that play. So I'm not sure what it was.
I didn't see it, Barry. All I know is we deserve it.
So they're marching off a holding call against Clark. So it'll still be 3rd down. Again, these are one of those spot fouls, so you don't really know where the ball is going to end up until the referees pretend they know where it's supposed to be. So it's going to be 3rd and about 16, I think. So that was a big time play in the Dolphins' favor. Clock is running now, 6:38 left in the 4th quarter. Dolphins trailing 14-6. So we'll see. I mean, I got to really stay on my toes with the rotating quarterbacks here for Clark. So Perkins is now in at quarterback. He's got Cameron Rice is the only setback. Perkins looking to throw deep. Lots of people back there. The ball eventually falls incomplete. Anthony Hood looking for that interception just out of his hands. I was just happy that didn't end up falling into Franklin's hands because it got awful close. So again, what we're seeing when with Perkins in the game is that they're winging it. They're throwing it deep. I guess the Clark coaches decided that's where they wanted to go in the second half of this game, or at least the 4th quarter. So 6:07 left. That's going to bring up 4th down.
Another final timeout by Clark.
All right. Final timeout for Clark is where our guest. So they're going to talk this over. Big play for them. 4th and long. We've seen this scenario before. Didn't quite turn out the way we wanted it to. Then when the Dolphins get the ball back, they're going to be going into the wind. Be nice to see a sustained drive. It seems like after that initial drive, they haven't been able to run quite as much, and so they've gone heavy to the pass. There have been some opportunities there and some connect. I mean, they've been moving the ball, but again, that last possession, just the ball a bit behind Alex Dale for the interception. So first order of business here is to get the stop on 4th down. So you've got Perkins in the game as the quarterback for Clark. And they run this bunch formation, but it doesn't matter. So it's like Franklin is 0. He's the flanker on the one side. And you got to watch Starks is number 2 on the other side. They're probably going to run it deep, and that's what they're doing. And they're throwing it Starks' way, and Starks has got a step. And it's out of bounds. The Clark fans are cheering, but it was out of bounds. So
incomplete, close.
Starks made the catch. He got behind 3 Dolphin defenders, but wasn't able to get his feet in bounds. And that turns the ball over to the Dolphins at the Clark 28-yard line. So Starks is still making his way back from where he was in the end zone. Newman in at quarterback. Clayton behind him. Offensive line, give him some time. Handoff to Clayton. He's wrestled down immediately by big man, number 74, Charles Cowart, 6'5", 350 pounds. He shot through there from his defensive line spot. Duhan still stretching the gravel out. These guys, especially a guy like Quinn Duhan, playing both ways, playing a demanding position on defense in that safety spot, running a lot of yardage as a wide receiver. So that brings up 2nd and 12 after a loss of 2. Hood down here to Newman's left, 3 receivers right. Newman rolling to his right. He completes it to Duhan for a short gain, 3-yard gain. So Newman was sprinting out to his right. There was also a blitz coming from the right-hand side, so good for him to be able to get the ball out of his hands and get it to Duhan for a completion. Going to bring up 3rd and 9. Clock running here, 4:50 left in the 4th quarter.
Are we in 4-down territory here?
I think so. I think so.
4:46 left.
Yeah, I mean, we do have 3 timeouts. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to talk to Riverboat Dan and see what he wants to do. But let's just get a first here and not have to worry about that. Duhan in motion to Newman's right. Newman complete to Harrison Gassa. Not quite a first down, so that was a pickup of 6 yards. So I think we're going to bring up about a 4th and 2. And this, I think you're definitely
Dolphins
going for.
Going to go.
4th and 3. So again, give Newman a little bit of time here. Deliver the ball on the money. Keep the chains moving. So big play. 4 minutes left in the game. 4th down, 3 yards. Defensive back is playing it. Yeah, there you go, Newman. Baby.
Nice.
He read the text. Newman got the hard count to get Clark to jump off sides. First down, big time play. That's from all of his years of watching Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers taking on the Bears on Sunday night. But let's stay focused on what's on the field right now. First down for the Dolphins at the 40. Newman's got 2 receivers to his right and to his left, and Harrison Gassa that time.
Another 5 yards.
Jumped offside now. It was offsides or an illegal motion by Gassa as the wide receiver over here on the left-hand side.
They had 12 on the field. I hope they call that first.
Offsetting? I think that would be more than this crew could handle. Oh! So they did. It did. Thank you, Jack. Nicely done. So
they didn't. Well, here we go. Okay, now we're reversing it. Okay.
It is. Yep. So even though Gassa jumped off sides, it must be in the if-then statements. If the defense has 12 men on the field, then you cannot get an offensive penalty on jumping off sides. Hood in motion to the right. Newman looking deep. Newman throwing deep to Hood. And just out of bounds, incomplete pass. So they went for that look again down the right-hand side where Newman hooked up with Hood early in this game. So that's going to bring up 2nd and 5. So Dolphins tried to roll deep with the short sticks to getting the first down. Now you might want to think about just starting to get some short yardage and moving the sticks. 3 minutes left in the game. Dolphins trailing 14-6. Inside handoff to Clayton. There's some room. Come on, Joseph Clayton.
Good run by Joseph. Yeah,
Joseph, a little bit of friendly fire there. I think that ran into Quinn Duhan, who's trying to come back and help him out on a block. So Duhan is down right now. That picked up the first down, so clock is going to stop. They're going to check on Quinn. So Clayton did a nice job, and I have to say, I mean, surprised me on the call too, with that inside zone read to Clayton. Cut it back to his left for a first down. Coach Finger coming over to check on Quinn as well, giving him some water. I think we got hit there. I think they're looking back, hopefully looking back at the gravel cramp in the calf. So
he's drinking some water. Good sign.
Yep. We've talked. I mean, so a lot of close games this week. We talked about there's also the Glenbard South game against Naperville last night. Same sort of result where they scored within the last, 30 seconds and then went for 2 and got the win. So big time win for them. We talked about the why am I blanking? Oh, the boom goes the dynamite.
No, it's a tight one here. 14-6. Dolphins trailing, driving 50-yard line. First down.
First down at the 50. Will DeMille on the field in Duhan's position. So sprints over here. He's next to Anthony Hood. Anthony Hood checking with the referee, making sure he's positioned correctly. Harrison Gassa and Alex Dale on Newman's right. Clayton in the backfield. Low snap. Newman corrals it. Pumps once, pumps twice. And there's going to be a defensive pass interference call against number 2. That's Starks. So Newman, I think his first read was covered. So he went back to Dale as his second read. Lofted it up toward the sidelines, and I think we've got a penalty against Clark and Starks hanging on for the ride on Alex Dale. So that's going to
15-yard penalty.
Pick up a first down. Yep, first down at the 34-yard line.
Dolphins sprinting to the ball. Let's go, Dolphins.
Anthony Hood down here to Newman's left. Clayton in the backfield. Alex Dale at tight end. Newman has time, waving guys over. Might have to just throw it out of bounds. And it's incomplete. It's a dangerous throw over there to Alex Dale. I'm not sure what they were trying to set up there. I think it ended up not working out the way they had it. Newman was waving some guys over. Pass ended up incomplete. So brings up second down and 10. 2 minutes, 43 seconds left. Ball at the 34-yard line. I wouldn't even be able to eat a Sorelli's Italian beef sandwich right now. I'm too darn nervous. My stomach is in knots.
After the game, I'm going to have 2 now.
Oh. Second and 10. Newman gets the snap. Rushes on. Overthrew Harrison Gassa.
A lot of pressure there.
Tons of pressure coming off the edge. I think those guys actually ran into each other. Newman stepped up at the last minute, but I think they've got Rice, number 9, was in. They got another defensive guy that's down that they're helping up right now. Yeah, number 66, they might be getting some of that cramping too. I mean, these guys are working hard out there. That's Jonathan Smith-Fenner, who plays both ways for Clark. So third down at the 34-yard line. Offensive line again doing a nice job. Clark definitely sending an extra blitzer or 2 that are getting picked up. So Duhan back in. So Duhan, Gassa, Dale to Newman's left. Hood to his right. Clayton in the backfield. Newman barking signals. Blitz is on. Newman going deep to Hood. He's got Hood. He got Hood for a touchdown.
Touchdown Dolphins. Touchdown Dolphins.
Newman delivered a strike to Hood, who hauled it in double coverage. So we've got 14 to 12. 14 to 12 here with 2 minutes and 29 seconds left. So Coach Boucher, offensive coordinator, Coach Finger, what's the 2-point play? What do we got here? So Newman's in the huddle. Got Clayton at running back. Hood to the left. Rico D'Alessandro, Gassa, and Duhan to the right. Big play. Newman rushes on. Ball is tipped, and it falls incomplete. So, big-time play by the Clark Eagles. Brought a ton of pressure off the right-hand side. Newman was rolling to his right. And, again, they've got some height. We talked about the 6'3" Camarion Rice, number 9. I'm not sure if he's the guy that got the hand up, but Keyshawn Franklin, also 6'3". Those are guys coming running off the edge on that, and they were able to get the stop on the 2-point after that great touchdown pass from Bennett Newman to Anthony Hood in the right corner. So 14-12, Clark leading Young. Another thing here to note, again, Brandon Bardsma out as the Whitney Young field goal kicker. So if Young can get a stop here and get the ball back, they do have all 3 of their timeouts. Also, I guess to note, without Bardsma, Alex Dale going to do the kickoff here. And there was a try of an onside kick to start the second half. Clark very late getting their guys on the field, but they are set. The Clark fans are imploring them to move up to see if the Whitney Young Dolphins indeed try for the onside kick here. They do have a number of their skill position players forward. Onside kick, line drive kick, still rolling, and corralled by Clark at the 37-yard line. So that was maybe trying to stick it between the 2 levels there. And again, Alexander Dale is not the usual kicker for the Whitney Young Dolphins. So
it was a good recovery. I think that was one again. Willie Taylor handled that onside kick.
So now where Clark has been winging the ball around a little bit, let's see who they bring out as the quarterback. I'd be more than happy if they want to try to keep throwing. And I think what they did there too is, like, the wind has really picked up here. So I think what they were thinking in the fourth quarter is they could throw some of those deep balls. Now you'd think they want to just be running the ball, getting the clock moving. So they're going to be on the left hash. Perkins stays in at quarterback. Willie Taylor, number 1, the deep set back in the I formation. Dolphins just got to stop some runs and call some timeouts.
Good penetration.
And Willie Taylor just kept those legs moving. And the Dolphins had a shot at him in the backfield, and Taylor doing what he's been doing all night, keeping those legs chaining, keeping those knees high, and was able to run through a couple Whitney Young tackles and get the first down across the 45-yard line. So 2:17 left. I guess I have to keep talking about the time here because I can see it, but if you're watching with your Sorelli's Italian beef sandwich somewhere, you can't see it. But at 2:17 left, 14-12, Clark with the lead in this first week matchup in the Chicago Public League. Again, big time. We talked about real briefly about the way the playoff system works in the Chicago Public League, and that's on our side of the top bracket in the city. The top 4 teams go to the city playoffs, matched up against the top 4 on, I guess I should learn the names of this, but I don't know if it's the red and blue or what but it's basically on our side, it's Phillips, Taft, Whitney Young, Lane, Clark, and Westinghouse. And so the top 4 of those teams go on to the city playoffs. And then on the other side, Simeon, who we've lost to, but that didn't matter from a playoff perspective. That's essentially like a non-conference game. Simeon, Morgan Park, and Kenwood are the class of that side of the division. So that was the first. Did I mark the timeout? That was the first timeout, right? They're
saying now a second and 1. That was the first timeout.
Okay, so 2nd and 1. 2nd and 1. Perkins lined up. He's probably just, this is their play. They line up Irons right behind him, and he pushes him. So he's got the first down. Duhan trying to strip that ball away. And, man, this is a game, and we talked about those little plays and those bounces that went the way of the Clark Eagles. So Coach Dan Finger takes his second timeout here. 2:13 left. And that's going to be tough for the Dolphins right now, given the timeout situation and the first down that the Clark Eagles just picked up.
Yeah, that was originally ruled a first down and then brought back as a 2nd and 1. So I think that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt us.
Yeah, it hurts us, right? Doesn't quite hurt us as bad as that pass interference call, but I'm almost over that.
It wouldn't. Well, I do have the Sorelli's Finer Food Drive recap, that touchdown. 3 minutes, 30 seconds resulted in a passing touchdown. Newman to Hood, 2:29 left in the game.
All right, so Perkins stays on as quarterback for the Eagles, takes the snap, hands off to Taylor. He's met immediately, but he keeps those legs going. Barry Gordon hanging on, brings him down. Willie Taylor for Clark, clearly their player of the game. So the clock operator had sounded the horn for some reason or another. I'm not quite sure why that went off. Maybe it was of no consequence. I think the Dolphins take I believe their 3rd and final timeout. I might have missed a timeout earlier. We'll just call it 2. I think they're out of timeouts. So 2nd down and 3. So when we talked about those bounces and those little lucky things, wouldn't mind like a mishandled snap right now to put the ball back in the Dolphins' hands. But we've seen some of those, and they've always just bounced right back to the Clark Eagles. And Clark has played a great game. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. I mean, they've done a great job right now. Willie Taylor picking up these first downs. There's a handoff. Barry Gordon not able to corral him. Anthony Hood comes up. But that's going to seal the game for the Clark Eagles with that first down for Willie Taylor. Clark fans not happy about the clock, but the clock is moving now. And with 4 downs, the Clark Eagle team can get in the victory formation, I do believe. The way it works with IHSA, they can take about 35 or 40 seconds off the clock every time they get it, so they're in the victory formation. Well-earned victory again for the Clark Eagles. They come in here again. Clark elevated this year, elevated to the top level of the CPL league, so they replaced Lincoln Park. So Lincoln Park was in that division. It's a little bit like Euro League soccer.
Relegation.
So, yep. So Lincoln Park was moved down in division. So Clark, which has done a really nice job again. They got They were one of only 3 Chicago Public League teams last year to get a first-round win in the state playoffs. So they're in the 1A division. Got a win in the first round. They were 9-2 again. Only lost to Peyton in their playoff loss last year. So they go to 3-1 on the year and position themselves atop this side of the division. So that, I think, should do it. Clark fans happy with that result.
Yeah, tough loss by the Dolphins. A couple bounces, a couple calls here and there. The game goes the other way.
Yeah,
I think they are the Young Dolphins, and we are Young Dolphins.
Yep. Yeah, and we mentioned at the top, Alex Dale, nice game tonight as the only senior who is playing for the Whitney Young Dolphins tonight. But if we think back, and help me out with this, Jack. I mean, the big plays of the game, the tip pick 6 was was maybe the biggest, right? Because the Dolphins were driving. They're already ahead. They had sort of controlled the entire first quarter with a really nice drive, mixing in some runs, then the touchdown pass from Newman to Gassa. They weren't able to convert on the 2-point conversion. Then they were driving again, right? So they're driving again, and that's where the pick six happens off of a tip ball, tipped at the line of scrimmage.
That was it. The tip, and then number one, Willie Taylor again. Yeah. Unfortunately, the ball was tipped into his hands. Just a phenomenal runner in the open field as a great running back, and took it to the house, and he closed the game for them, them as well.
Then second half, big play, a wayward onside kick for the Dolphins to start off with, which gave the Eagles the ball in Dolphin territory. I've said it far too many times, but there was a questionable pass interference penalty on fourth down, which allowed Clark to keep their drive alive and eventually score a short touchdown run from the quarterback Clayton, and then they converted on the 2-point conversion, putting them up 14-6. Dolphins got the ball back. And eventually worked a really, really nice pass from Newman to Hood for a touchdown in the right-hand corner of the end zone. But the 2-point, Newman rolling out to his right, a lot of big hands in his face, and that 2-point conversion got tipped and was incomplete. And so Clark took over with a 14-12 lead, and Willie Taylor took care of business from there, churning out some big-time first down runs when there were some tacklers that some hands on him. So anyway, Jack, really enjoyed doing the game with you.
Fantastic, Barry. Thanks for including me. It's quite a setup. I'm glad the technology was working this time, and a great call of the game.
So thanks to Dolphin Nation out there. Our thanks to Principal Ricky Harris of Whitney Young and Chris Cassidy, athletic director. Thanks to Coach Daniel Finger and the entire staff of Whitney Young football. Thanks to all of you listeners out there who we really appreciate hearing from you each week. We appreciate Sorelli's Finer Food. So if you're feeling low after this game, Italian beef sandwich
sounds pretty good right around now, Barry.
We will be back on air. All things go according to plan back here at Lane Stadium next week, taking on the Lane champions, nickname change for them. So Lane, that's right now, is a 10 a.m. Central Time start. So we'll be back here on air against Lane. We'll find out how Lane did against a tough Taft team tonight, and we'll get back to Chicago Public League action next week. So thanks again, everybody. Really enjoyed having you with us tonight. Again, final score, Clark 14, Whitney Young 12. Have yourselves a great weekend. Thanks. Josh said that PI call was terrible.
I had some poor camera work in the third quarter. He was texting me. He's like, move the camera. Move the camera. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, we haven't had a loss like that in recent memory, right? A game that, a close loss, and one where you outplayed the other team. Now, outplayed them for 3 quarters, but they put together the drives when they needed to put it together.
Yeah, both teams had, there's some really